Perfect. Awesome. That's great. Yeah. So yes, guys. So the episode for tonight is Mexicans for Trump, and Cynthia is a Mexican American. So I will be interviewing her and pretty much hearing her out, her experience of being a Mexican American and being a Trump supporter, how that's been working for her. And I know that that's a pretty controversial topic. We already have some people in the comment section saying no, and other people saying yes. So let me know if you have any questions for Cynthia. I will also be opening the guest section. If anybody wants to ask her any questions directly, I will do that as well. So Cynthia, tell me a little bit about yourself. How did this start happening for you? Mexican American Trump supporter. How did it start? Were you always a Republican?
No, I wasn't. Actually, I really didn't pay attention. I didn't know exactly what being a Republican was. I always just heard that they were the party of the greedy and the rich, and just white people, and that they don't care about anything, only about themselves. And then later I come to find out, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not true. It's not true at all.
So you were always raised a Democrat?
Not that I was like, no, my parents never like inculcated in me that Democrat or Republican. But yeah, for the most part, when you go to school, you're just like, okay, well, you're for the party of the Democratic side.
So you were not raised, it was more like, was it like in school, or how? So how did you know you were a Democrat? I guess that's the question.
Only because that's what I was told in high school, and that's a party that they would always tell me to vote for. And that's like, oh, okay, this is a party that you need to vote because they care for the immigration, and obviously you guys are Latinos, so automatically this is a party that you guys need to vote for, and what's it called? And oh gosh, what's the word? Sorry, I went blank.
So this was like peer pressure, pretty much?
Kind of, yeah, kind of like that, you could say, yeah.
So it wasn't based on any sort of, something factual, like you saw a certain policy or something. You were just following the crowd in that sense.
Yes, correct. I was just like following the crowd. I didn't know any better either, so I was just like, whatever.
Better than.
Anyway, so back to your question on how was I always a Democrat. For the most part, it's not that they tell me exactly, but for when going in, being raised here and going to public school, like I told you, I was very involved. I was a very involved person. So the Democratic Party was the ones that would always go to the schools, and they do a lot of like conferences and stuff like that they invite, like the school clubs, and that's how I got into being a Democrat. Like voting more or siding more with the Democratic Party. Although for the most part, I must be honest, when I would go to these places, because I didn't know anything myself at first, I was like, well, there's just something so weird. Like, I'll give you an example. I remember being a freshman, and I joined this club called SOUL, a student organization for Latinos, and they invited us to this like conference where at the time it was Harry Reid. He was a majority leader at the time for the Democratic Party, and going there, they tell you how also they had like a speaker, and I remember. At first, I was like, all right, cool. This speaker seems pretty cool, and all of a sudden this lady starts talking about how you need to, coming out of high school, there's programs called Women's Studies and the Women's Studies, but that they were disguising it as Women's Studies. And at the end of the day, once you hear the whole thing, it was for you to become a lesbian. And I was like, what? I was so confused at the time because, I was a freshman still. And I was just like, wait a minute. So this whole hour I stood here in this convention, it was just for me to join. So when I get out of high school, I could go into college and join women's studies so I can become a lesbian. It was just too weird to me. But again, being a freshman, you don't think anything about it. You move on with your life. I just continue with my own thing, and I didn't pay attention to it as much. And that's another thing that is like, oh well, the Democratic Party is always there for the people.
Right, the People's Party, right? That's what they promote.
They promote that, yeah, which is such a lie.
So then tell me the transition part. When did you go from following the crowd in high school and then you turned not only Republican conservative, but you voted for Trump or you became a Trump supporter? How did that work?
Yeah, well, I told you, like 2016, I really wasn't involved. And then when I started seeing all this, listen, I was raised obviously religiously, right? And I believe of doing the right thing, no matter, even if it's your family or your friends, you call out what's wrong, what you think it's wrong, and what's right, right? And then, so now fast forward to Donald Trump. At first, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, man, why are they attacking this guy so much? It's not like he's not the only one. I'm like, everybody in the political spectrum has done a lot of things wrong one way or another. But to see the media and everybody like attacking him, it really started raising a huge concerns. I'm like, well, what is it that this guy has? And at the beginning, I believed that what the media was telling me. But once you start looking into what the actual person is telling you, and you start seeing the videos, the actual videos, not the videos that are cut short, and then they only tell you the narrative that they want to push on the media, depending on which news station you're watching. So that's kind of what started changing my mind. Like I told you on the last podcast, I voted for Hillary Clinton, thinking that she was the better candidate. But then after I started researching myself, and I'm like, well, what was Benghazi? What was this? What was that? And then you start realizing that, she's really not for an American people.
So 2016, you voted for Hillary.
Yes, because I didn't know any better, and I admit it. I was ignorant.
Got it. And so you voted for Hillary. Trump becomes president. By the way, what was your reaction since you voted for her when he won? What was your original reaction?
Like nothing. I was neutral. I was like, all right, whatever. Like always, I always vote for some presidents, and they don't work out. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I was just neutral. I had no feelings or anything. However, like I told you in my last podcast too, I did have a lady when I went to my political science class, and she was like livid. She was throwing a fit that the country's gonna go to hell, that he's such a dictator and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I never saw any of that. I'm like, what are these people smoking that? They're just exaggerating everything. Like, I don't see that.
In college? Was this a college teacher?
Yeah, this was a college teacher, and she went crazy. She even started crying. She went crazy, and she's like, no, and don't vote for him, even before he actually won.
She started crying?
Yeah, she started crying. That is like, I can't believe he won. This is such a rigged election, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? I've never seen that. Like, I told you, like, when the past elections, I guess I never paid attention like that, and it never crossed my mind, like, how, sorry, I was getting a text message. Yeah, I never crossed my mind how serious this was. I'm like, why are people reacting like this? To me, it was so weird, because you got shit to do. I'm like, I got stuff to do. The last thing I need is this political stuff. However, it's very important, because one thing that I learned with Donald Trump's presidency was that you need to pay attention who you put in office, because that's why I think our system is getting super crazy,
AGT is asking, which school do you go to? Do you want to share that or no?
Sorry, what was that?
A comment from user AGT is asking, which school did you go to when this happened?
Yeah, this was at community college here in Southern Nevada. Give me 1 second. Let me just adjust the mic because I guess we're getting a lot of feedback.
Okay, so Cynthia, all right. So I want to, before I give the word to Dems, what's it? What's it called again? Dems Against Trump is a user that just joined. He requested to join, and I let him in. I just want to go over real quick, guys, for those watching the rules. Okay, if you're going to mention the Triple K group, make sure to mention it like that, Triple K, and that's to protect the live. Also, no profanity. We want to protect the live. We want to have civilized conversations. You can ask your questions or say your statement, and then we can reply to that. So, Dems Against Trump, I'll give you the word. Cynthia, if you can please mute your mic so that he can ask a question or say what he wants to say, he or she. And then try to keep it brief because, yesterday we had a user, he joined and he just gave this long statement and he wanted a special guest to reply to everything he said. So we don't want to, we want to go parts by parts. So if you have a question, go ahead.
All right. Hello. Good afternoon. Just to let you know, I am at work. So if I go suddenly quiet or drop out, it's because I got a phone call while I'm at work. So,
Copy.
Okay.
so I'm not voting for either party here. I can't talk. I'm not voting for Biden or Trump. I don't like both of them. We got Genocide Joe, and then we got Traitor Trump here. So I'm looking at other third party candidates here. One person that brings in mind here that I've been watching for the last few weeks is Brittany Jones here, who's part of the Green Party and stuff. And I like a lot of her stances on immigration, on making it a little bit easier and stuff, and getting rid of a lot of the chaos that's going at the border and stuff here. Make it as easy for people to cross northern borders should be taken down to the southern border. So I like a lot of her stances on border security here. Donald Trump said he was going to build a wall and Mexico was going to pay for it, and that never happened under his administration, unfortunately. Biden did get Mexico to provide for border security here during his administration. Right now, inflation here, yes, summer of 2022, inflation was at a high of 9.2%, and we're down to 3.27%. GDP is up to 5.2% for last quarter here so far and stuff, and things are finally going down here, going in the right direction here. The economy here just need to do a few little tweaks here and there to keep it going to the right direction here that it needs to go to, and stuff here. So, a lot of people don't understand that. Yes, inflation was bad here in the United States, but there was other countries that had higher inflation here. There was some countries that were at 12, and there was quite a few that were over 22% inflation rate here, which I can't even fathom a 22% inflation rate, which is horrendous. But, I'm like, there's stuff. I am unfortunately a Democrat, and I do criticize some of my people here. I wish Democrats would do single line bills here, one bill for one problem here, and stuff like that. That would definitely help the American people with having single line bills here and stuff like that, and stuff.
Dems, can you share your main point? Because you first stated that you're not voting for either, but you seem to be praising Biden. So can you state your main point?
But like the only issue I have right now with Biden is he's giving Israel into this war here and stuff. He's not calling for a ceasefire here for Gaza, for the people of Palestine, and I can't support somebody that really wants to allow Israel to murder innocent people. So
even though, according to you, Biden is doing a really good job, he just needs to tweak a little bit here and there, according to what you said. The Israel situation, that's like a deal breaker for you.
pretty much here, I can't support somebody that supports genocide in Palestine.
Got it. Okay. So, do you have a specific question for the guest tonight, or that's all you wanted to share?
That's pretty much it here. I keep a lot of my stuff pretty respectful and straight to the point and stuff like that. I don't go back and forth between the he said she said bullshit and stuff like that. Just keep it 100% real.
Got it.
I have a question for you. Why do you say
Go
that?
ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I have a question for you. I'm curious to say when you say traitor Trump, what makes him a traitor according to you?
I'm like looking in the history of Donald Trump here. He what he did to Central Park Five, how him and his father wouldn't rent to people of color here, and all the other shit that Donald Trump's been through for over the last 60 years here. I'm like, the dude only goes to the party that benefits him. At one time, Trump was a Democrat, then he switched to an independent, then he switched to another party, then he switched to Republican. He only goes to the party that benefits him, and he doesn't give a shit about anybody else.
Okay, I could see that. I could see what
So,
you think of
so
that.
when Trump had the lowest unemployment rate for blacks and Latinos, does that matter to you at all?
He did not actually have the lowest
He
in the.
did.
He did not.
He did when he was president.
Let's go look that up here really
Okay,
quick.
you can look it up.
That's where I always get a little like when people say
By
like,
the
"Oh, he's a
way,
traitor."
yeah, by the way,
Mhm.
when he mentioned the Central Park Five, we discussed this actually yesterday in last night's episode of Blacks for Trump. He was the statement, you can look up the quote, he was not specifically attacking names of those that were accused at that time. He was talking about the crime that occurred, which was a really bad crime. And if anything, people love to put that on him. He was following the media's narrative at the time. Everyone at that time had those guys guilty before a trial because the media had them guilty. So, instead of putting it on Trump, in my opinion, you should put it on the media and the prosecutors that had those guys guilty before they had a fair trial. But, this is the typical, liberal propaganda that they promote in the mainstream media, right? That it's, Trump did this, Trump did that. He was just following what everybody was saying. But as Dems keeps looking the information that I just asked him about, I want to give the word to God's favor. Go ahead, God's favor. You have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. I have two questions. I wanted to know how many Latinos have were appointed in the Trump administration as far as judges or cabinet members.
Okay. Cynthia, do you want to answer that or you want me to answer that?
No, you can go ahead and answer it. I actually don't know that question. I don't know.
Yeah. So, Gods, to be honest with me, to be honest with you, I do not follow identity politics.
No,
Okay.
I know.
Hold on. Let me answer the question because you asked. So let me reply.
Okay.
I don't follow that. So if you think that because Trump appointed or didn't appoint a Hispanic person within his cabinet or a judge or whatever, that's going to affect my view of his policies and what he did when he was president, I don't follow that. That's usually what the Democrats follow. They make everything about race. We don't, at least in my case. I vote for what's working for me and what I see is working for the communities around me. But I don't follow identity politics.
So I'm looking at Statistica here and stuff for unemployment rate of African Americans.
Hold on, Dams. Hold on, Dams. Because God said he had two questions. Go ahead, God. Second question?
Question. This is about. I wanted to know why would Trump quote Adolf in his interviews and at his rallies? Why would
Okay,
he?
can you
Why would
provide
he
a quote or a date
Yeah.
specifically, please?
Sure. Well, Adolf had said
Just okay, go ahead.
that the Jewish
Make sure
people.
to be careful with what you're saying though, okay? Because
Yes.
we want to protect the life. So if you can
Okay.
quote it, but if it's too crazy, just try to paraphrase it.
Okay. Adolf had said that the Jewish people were poisoning the blood of the Aryan people. And in an interview, Trump said migrants coming from Mexico are poisoning the blood of Americans. You remember he said that?
Do you have a quote, like a specific quote? Because it seems like you're paraphrasing everything. Can you look it up?
He actually said.
Are you quoting? Do you have a source?
Yes.
Okay,
It was
what's the source?
An interview on CBS.
Okay. What's the article's name so I can look it up?
It was an interview that was on television.
But that should be reported, right? It's a quote.
Yes.
So what's the CBS Trump interview?
The quote is that migrants are poisoning the blood of Americans. And you will see that it says that he quoted Adolf.
I don't think so. Sometimes the media, I don't know how the media can get away with all these lies. But you have to
I'll give
really
Cynthia
look
the
at.
word, and I'm looking for it as well. Go ahead,
Okay.
Cynthia. No, go
Sorry,
ahead,
I don't
Cynthia.
know.
You can reply. Yeah, I said
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
looking for what he's talking about, but you can reply. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just like I don't know how people or how the media gets away with all these lies, because sometimes when you see the media how they get a quote from somebody, sometimes it's what they're saying and then they miss what's it called, they
No,
just push a narrative and then
yeah.
it's not even true.
Well,
Once you go back and look at it, I'm like, well, like Donald Trump never said that.
it
Those
came out.
people actually said it, but then they said like, oh no, this is what he meant. I'm like, no, he
It,
didn't. It was
it was live on TV. It came out his mouth. So it wasn't like they quoted it from a newspaper article.
yeah, but
He
sometimes
said
they
it
just
in
get
it.
two pieces of the whole conversation, what they actually what it actually means, and then
Yes.
they just
When
sell you on that.
when you say poisoning the blood of a certain group, that means mixing. That's what that means. And he said that migrants are coming across the border poisoning the blood of Americans. And that's the same thing Adolf said, the same exact quote.
I don't know about that. I never heard of
What
that,
was Gots? Do you know what was the context of the conversation when that was said? Because
but
the
how can you
context is
be
very
poisoning the
important.
blood when we're all
The-
immigrants? Even he has like Scottish.
Well, hold on, because the context is very important. Because this brings me back. Remember, Cynthia, when we
Yeah.
had the conversation about when Trump said that he hates Mexicans, right? And the media
Yes,
was
yeah.
pushing this narrative. But then when we looked up at the actual full video, he was referring to the border specifically, and he even said they're not all coming from Mexico, by the way. But the media
would you
just
like
cut
for me
that
to
in
play
half.
it? Would you like for me to play it for you?
No, I found the quote. I'm just looking for the
okay.
context. So I'm asking you, do you know the context of the conversation? Because it's easy to, just pinpoint like a quote, but what was the context of the conversation?
It was about the border. It was about the border. He said, "This is okay." I'm gonna
Hold
play
on,
it for
Cynthia,
you.
can you mute your mic so he can speak?
He said that Mexico was letting out their insane asylum. They're letting out criminals, and they're coming across the border and poisoning the blood of Americans.
Poisoning the
Okay.
blood of our
Okay,
country. I
so-
think it's on the
so-
CNN.
He actually said Mexico is emptying their insane asylums.
Yeah. So hold on, because I found the quote, but hold on a second. Okay. So yeah, so he was referring to the border. Undocumented immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. Is that what you're referring to? Right?
Using the language.
Guts? Gots, are you there? I think we lost Gots. I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah. So he was referring again to the border, and as you mentioned, the context was the criminals that were coming. Specifically talking about the criminals. We're not saying all of them are criminals. That's not what we're saying. But the context of it was specifically the criminals. Are criminals good people? I don't think so. Do you think they're good people, Cynthia?
No, of course not. I don't think so either.
Yeah, so I don't understand why we have to be so soft when we're speaking about bad people. If they're bad people, it's all fair and game. That's what you're referring to. And per the context that I'm seeing here, that's what he was talking about. Dems, do you wanna? We lost God, so Dems, do you wanna say something? I think you were looking for something because we have other people that want to join, and then I'm gonna let you go. So go ahead.
There was a TikTok update yesterday, just to let you know, and that's probably what's going on. It's causing people to spur the other.
Yeah, I had the same problem last night. A lot of people joined and they were just kicking, they were just losing connection.
Yeah. So I'm
Wait,
looking
hold
at.
on. Sorry, but Gots, if you're out there still, you can request. I'll let you come in again. Go ahead, Dems.
So I'm looking at Statista here and the unemployment rate of African Americans in the United States from 1990 to 2022. So Trump became president here in 2017, where it was at a 7.5%. And then when he left in 2021, it was at 11.4%. And then in 2022, it's down to a 6.1%.
Okay, yeah, Dems, hold on a second. I said during his presidency, right?
Yeah.
And in all fairness, I didn't mention
So,
this. I did mention it in yesterday's live.
so
I don't. Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish.
2018, that's what I'm about to go to, because I'm
Okay,
going to
go
go.
ahead. Go ahead.
2017, it was 7.5. 2018, it was 6.5. 2019, it was 6.1. 2020, it was 11.41.
6.1 for who?
Here, it was for Trump. And then
No,
now
for what? For what demographic?
for African Americans.
Okay, so where are you getting that? Because I'm looking at CNBC article here. Blacks and Hispanic. By the way, guys, you can Google it. Black and Hispanic unemployment is at record low. Published Friday, October 4th, 2019. And I quote, the jobless rate for Hispanics hit a record low of 3.9% in September, while African Americans maintain its lowest rate ever at 5.5%. The unemployment rate for Asian Americans was 2.5%. The jobless rate for adult women came at 3.1%. So I'm not sure where you're getting that from, but this was heavily reported even by the left.
I don't use mainstream media, so this is Statista here. This is popular here. I use it all the time. It's a really good place to get charts.
I mean, I will honestly fact check that because you can see various sources with these actual numbers. These are actual numbers.
It goes through that here. So in 2017, it was at a 7.5. 2018, it was 6.5. In 2019, it was at a 6.1. And then you go to 2020, it was 11.4. And then 2020,
go ahead. Okay.
In 2021, it was at 8.6%. And then in the last report, it was 2022 was 6.1%.
Right.
So back down to where Trump had it here in 2019.
According to the article, that doesn't seem to have the right numbers. But, I mentioned this last night. I don't count 2020 because 2020 was the year of COVID. Every economy in the world was destroyed by COVID. And I said it, and I keep saying it in every live because these people keep bringing up Biden's superhero numbers. If the United States was the only economy that collapsed during COVID under Trump, I would have been the first one to say he is horrible. But every economy collapsed, and when we came out of COVID, pretty much every economy came back to normal, or at least got close to it, sometimes even better. So I don't count 2020. That's why I pulled up the 2019 numbers, which you have a different number than I have. So I would recommend for you to, double check that source because you cannot only just use one source. But again, Dems, thank you for joining. If you want to, send a request again, you can. I have to let other people in that are waiting.
Okay, one thing that I did want to...
Vote Blue 2024 people later.
Go ahead, Cynthia, you want to say something?
Yeah, like when I hear comments like this gentleman right here that just left, I think sometimes people don't understand how it works. I feel like for me, I understand how Trump
Patrick, please mute your mic.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
Oh, okay, yeah. What I was trying to say is this. So people criticize Trump that he was a Democrat and then he changed to an independent and now he's a Republican. I feel at the end of the day, when it's very different. You can't compare back in the day when he's just a businessman. I think that's where a lot of people lose it, and they tend to forget that he was not a politician, and in order for you to get things done, well, you're gonna have sometimes to side with people that you don't like just to get the work done, because as a business person, you just get it done and then you're like, all right, well, tell me what is it that I need to do. But I think a lot of people get stuck in the feeling and And that's where I think they go wrong.
The thing is that they tend to follow exactly what the mainstream media, most of the mainstream media, repeats. It's the same talking point. But I wish they would look into Joe Biden's record, right, as an actual politician for decades, and Hillary Clinton's as well, right? But they don't do that. It's always, after Trump, 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 and what he did, his previous relationships, all this nonsense that has nothing to
Yeah,
do.
and what boggles my mind is how these people, even if you show them, I feel like the people that vote for the Democratic Party, they're like the cheated wife that doesn't want to believe that her husband is cheating on her because she's just so in denial. And you can have the evidence, you can have all the evidence in front of her, right? And that's how I feel sometimes Democratic people are, where you have the evidence and they still are in denial. So no matter what you present to them, it's like, well, what kind of evidence do you want to actually make you freaking open up your eyes and realize how blind you are? Or why is it that you're voting one-sided? Like, I don't understand that. It
Yeah,
just boggles my mind all
and
the
every
time.
time they bring up these, racist claims, right? They don't bring up the many times that Trump denounced the Triple K. He
Oh,
denounced them
he
several
denied it
times.
every
I mean,
time,
you
but
can
but
YouTube it. You
again,
can put, Trump denouncing, and there's various footage of him saying it, but they don't quote that. They like to just dig and try to find something to match it to Adolf. But with that being said, I want to give the word to Patrick. Go ahead, please ask your question or statement. Keep it brief because we want to be able to answer what you want to say.
Right on. So it's three questions, but they're all in the same format. The first one was almost off what the lady just said on how sometimes you have to work with people you don't like to get things done. My question to her would be, what are we using, Triple K? If a Triple K person offered you a financial opportunity, you're saying your moral code would let you accept that money rather than just doing the right thing and not working with that person?
is that for me?
Yeah, it's for you. I'm just saying, like in
No,
regards to Trump
no,
or anything.
no, no, no. That's the reason that for me, that's why I don't have TikTok. I'm only doing this because of
But I just
Max,
mean
and
in theory, like I'm saying that most people that are like me believe Trump is that type of person. So when you throw things like the economy at me, it doesn't really matter to me because at the end of the day, if eggs are $3 or $1 or
But that's the
$5,
thing. You're only seeing one side. You think Biden is doing things by the moral code?
there. So
No,
that
he's
was my
not.
next point, and I'm glad you said that. You
You
never
know.
say that's the reason I hate both of them. You try to use that to justify Trump. Like if they're both racist, that means I'm cool with Trump being racist because the other guy is. So racism isn't that bad. When really you should say I hate both of them. If it really was about the country and racist, and you
But that's
just
the
bring up the
thing.
other things.
I've never heard Trump say anything racist. Whereas Biden, he
So the
has
guy
said
just showed
things
you the
racist. Like,
quote.
if you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
That
Okay, isn't that super racist?
no,
When
it's
Trump
not
talks
super
about
racist.
certain things,
No, it's
he's
not
being
super racist.
specific
Let
on a
Patrick let her finish, and then you
context.
can
Okay, sorry.
answer. Go ahead,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Cynthia. Go ahead.
No, like I was saying, I could see your point where you're saying that, based on the moral code. But if you really look at the two people, right now we're just talking about Biden and Trump. When I look at Trump and when I hear his conversations, he's based on a context. He doesn't generalize. So for me, therefore I feel like he is more specific. And I don't see how that's being a racist comment. It's like me also saying something about the Mexican people, and I'm being Mexican, and I what? So I'm racist too? No, I'm like,
No,
no,
but
I'm
you're
sticking to
Mexican,
a
like you just
certain
said.
topic. Only
You're
because
Mexican though.
Biden has done nothing, and he has actually said, and if you look at the history of Biden, he has said things that are racist. That to me is racism. Like,
So
I don't know what is it that what's your context or what's your perspective saying that, to be considered
my
something racist?
perspective is when you say that when someone does something, you're suggesting that we stop letting all of those type of people into a country. That sounds like racism.
No, I don't say it like that.
That's what you said. I'm not
Maybe I
saying
do need
you. I
to
don't think you're
rephrase my
racist.
my way, but the way I mean it is that in any country there's rules and there's regulations for you to go
But he
into it,
didn't
right?
say everyone. He said certain migrants from a certain country. He didn't say everyone that's not American, like Americans come home, no one's allowed in until we figure it out. He specifically said a certain group of people.
What can you repeat what he said,
I'm
Patrick?
trying not to get in trouble, but he
Okay, so
what
can
was
you
it?
paraphrase it?
I'm calling for a ban of all people of Muslim religion to come into the country.
Right.
That was the quote.
Right.
That was a little bit out of context, Patrick. But
Yeah.
yes, at the
I'm
time we
trying
were
not
at war and we
to
had
go down
terrorist
the
attacks
road.
happening, and we were
Yeah.
protecting our country.
Yeah. So I
See, there we
wanna
go. That's what I mean.
hold
So
on.
you're saying that inherently, because you don't know what's going on with a certain race of people, it's got to be something with the whole race of people. So instead of doing investigative work like CIA and all the other stuff we do with war, we decide to just say everyone can't come.
No, we check and we want to make sure we follow and check and do a check
That's
and
not what he
balance
said,
process
though.
because we have no idea where these people are coming from.
That's not what he said, though.
Oh, you're taking that out of context. Why don't you put the whole thing?
Yeah,
So
Patrick. I believe he said that it is, he wanted them to be vetted.
Yes,
Correct. Do you
exactly.
remember that?
when
Because we can
Canadians
just
come in
use
the
one
country
quote,
during
right?
wait, and my point is, when Canadians came in the country at that time, were they vetted? French people, or was it just a certain group? That's my
Yeah,
point.
but Canadians, you don't see footage of Canadians burning American flags in their cities, right?
Once again, that's the racism part. That's
No,
the
no,
I got robbed by a
No.
certain
no, no. It's
person.
not racism. You've actually
Yeah.
seen some of these countries. I'm not saying that
I
all of them.
know
I'm
that
not saying that all
actually
of
been
them. I'm not
robbed
saying
by a
that
white
everyone in
person.
the
It doesn't mean that every white person I see is going to rob me.
exactly, but there's a strong feeling towards America on that side of the globe. Doesn't mean everybody in the country feels that way, but
And that's based off whose perspective? How many countries have you been to that you're accusing this of?
I haven't been. I'm just telling
So
you
that
that
means you're taking Trump's word for it.
no.
No, I'm
I'm
not
just
taking.
saying.
I'm not. I could tell you, I've been to
Go
about
ahead. I'll
15
let Ozzy respond.
countries.
He wants to.
Go
He
ahead.
just
Go ahead.
joined. By the way, he
I've
just
been
joined.
there
So
about.
let Ozzy respond.
I'll
Go
mute.
ahead.
I've been to about 15 countries. My family's been serving in the military since I've been a kid.
Thank you for your
I am
service and your
Spanish.
family's service.
Yeah, I have not been. I have not served in the military, but I could tell you I've had plenty of my cousins and people that have been shot or not killed. Only one has died in the military, and I can tell you those people do not like us. Those people do not want to help us. We have tried to help those people, and when we've been there, one of my cousins was shot by trying to protect women and children to let them escape, and these cowards dressed as women and shot him in the back. So don't tell me these people like us and they can't be vetted. These aren't
To
people that
be
are just coming
completely
from Mexico
fair,
to work.
if you saw a Chinese tank and soldiers driving down Martin Luther King Street in your city, and they were telling you to do things because they're trying to help you, you're saying that what you would do is listen to them.
No, I would absolutely not because China's never
Thank
helped
you. So
anybody. But how
how are
many
they
countries of the
being
U.S. we
weird
were
for not
defending
doing it for
ourselves?
us?
We were at war.
You can't
We were
defend
defending
yourself in
ourselves.
someone else's country, bro.
Patrick, have you ever served this country? Have you ever
No,
been in the
I don't like
military?
guns. I'm not going to shoot anybody for anything. I mean, pew pew. Sorry.
So do you
So
understand how countries sometimes are formed? Like why is it that we have military and all these countries have military
Personally, are you asking me,
soldier?
or do you say like logically? Do you? I know why we have it logically, but personally, I think it's stupid. I don't think we need it.
Correct, which I agree with you in that part. I don't think we need it, but in retrospect, where if we would live in a perfect world, right, we don't need a military. We don't need even to have countries because we will all be one, right? But
And
unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, right? Because human nature tends to also have evil inside them. So because we don't know how people's cultures are or certain how they're being raised, so differences of opinion tend to come into play, and because these people don't believe like you, so therefore we have to create a military to protect people, because in the history of the world there's always been wars, right?
so,
So
like, if
now,
a bully is messing with my child, instead of keeping my child at my house and protecting them, I should go to the bully's house and attack them.
no, I never said that. I'm just
That's what it
saying
sounds
that
like when you defend
you
war.
have to teach your kid too to protect himself in the world where there's a lot of crazy
I
people.
don't teach my kid to protect himself. I teach my kid to, try to talk their way out of situations.
That doesn't
No,
always
which is
work,
fine.
Patrick. This is
I
But say
understand it
advancing.
there's some
doesn't
people
always
that are gonna
work, and
come and
that's what I
attack
mean.
him. So then what? Your kid is just gonna try to do it with words?
That's what I just told you. I would rather suffer unaliving than pew pew someone else for any reason whatsoever. And I think if everyone had that mentality, these conversations would be moot. But what you're doing is you're making it sound like that's the way it is, so this is what I'm going to do. And then you throw the hatred in there and you start blaming other countries for problems that we're having when it's not them that are saying things to me down the street. It's not them arguing with each other about masks and all this other stuff. It's just this weird YouTube scholar stuff where everyone seems to think they know everything when no one has a degree in anything that they're talking about. That
But
sounds
even the
like the
people
problem to me.
sometimes that have credentials, they're really indoctrinated in a certain way, and then they think that they're better than you and that they know more than you when they really don't.
They really
You know.
do. If a doctor has a doctorate, he knows more than you about medicine. I'm sorry if you don't
Not
like that.
necessarily, sir.
Okay,
I have two
just quick
degrees and I
question. Just quick question for Patrick.
Yeah, so
How
that
many?
was just my question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many? Do you know how many AMS countries Trump banned that time?
But like ban the countries. The only quote that I know is the I'm not big into politics. The only quote I know is the one I tried to say, and you said that it was out of
Right.
context. So
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you know how many how many number of countries did he ban?
no, I do not.
Okay, because I just looked it up. So I'm looking here per Wikipedia. Okay, let's see. Okay, the original travel ban from the majority of AMPs. I want to say AMPs, by the way, just because we don't know how the
You're good.
TikTok algorithm is going to.
You're good.
I want to protect the life here.
You're
AMPs
good.
countries. The travel ban for people for 7 majority AMPs countries, and then it names them, right? So it was Iran, Iraq, Libya, etc. And so it was for
And if
90
I were to
days.
say none of
Hold
those
on.
are inherently white countries, would you
Hold
guys
on.
about?
Let me finish. For 90 days with certain exceptions, okay? And then you can Google this. How many AMPs countries were there? And according to Pew Research Center, there are 50 majority AMPs countries. So we got to put things in context, right? Because it's easy for us to say he banned AMPs countries, and everybody thinks, oh, he banned every AMPs countries. It was only 7.
I'm not saying every. I'm saying that
I
he
know, but I'm just saying it's
everyone that's
when
not American.
the media says Trump is banning AMPs countries, it's essentially true. But when they say it like that, it's easy for us as the audience to capture it as he is picking on that specific group.
So unless and this is I might be off here, but unless a country has declared like war, it sounds like that's something you shouldn't say when it like has the broad brushstroke.
So that's your opinion, and I can
Right. That's all
understand.
that's all I meant. I'm not
Okay,
saying anyone
okay,
was racist.
Patrick, you know
all
what the
right.
problem is? These countries, they don't wear a uniform like we do. When we go to these countries, we're wearing a uniform. We let them know why we're there and what we're doing. These guys hide. They hide behind children. They hide behind women. They hide in hospitals and schools, in mosques, and then they attack you and
You
run.
don't
These
think
guys
they're
don't fight you
terrified
man to
of the
man.
people that have been training for war for the last 150 years?
Okay,
And you,
just hold on
these
one
guys
second
are
because
not.
because
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Patrick
Yeah.
is set on his mind that Trump is a racist, and that's his opinion.
No, I said he said racist things, and my question was,
Okay,
even if it's borderline, that's why I brought up the triple K thing.
right.
If he was
So
great, so Trump's great for the economy. Trump
okay,
does everything you're saying,
right.
but triple K people align with him. You're
Okay,
saying that's just the cost of business.
I never said that.
That's
What
what I was.
about
That's what my
okay?
question was.
Okay, what about the several statements from Trump denouncing the Triple K? Does that mean anything to you?
So yeah, if someone has to say, "Hey man, you should probably not support that," and then 3 days later, or 2 weeks later, or 3 hours later, he comes back out like, "Okay, I denounce it."
So
Yeah,
damn
that's
if he
something I
does,
agree
damn
with.
if he doesn't, kind of thing.
No. If I have to twist your arm and not be racist, I'm black, by the way, so I'm not cool with it.
Okay,
You know what I
got
mean?
it.
Like if I
Okay,
have to
so
Yeah,
twist
so it
your
I,
doesn't
arm.
mean anything to you that he denounces it. He's just, he's just
Yes, no. If you
I
don't denounce it out the gate, like if you say, "Hey, this Klan guy was quoting your stuff," and I don't go, "Whoa, I'm cool," out the gate, no, you're not good with me.
got it. Okay,
I
so
could tell you that
go
I
ahead,
have
Ozzy.
never heard of any Triple K person or people that are associated with them that would
David
let his
Duke?
daughter marry a Jewish person.
What does that matter? That's my friend's black. What are you talking about?
No, I'm telling you, no. If it's a true Triple K racist, like you're saying, there's no chance on earth that he would let his daughter
That's
marry
crazy.
a Jewish
Hey
dude.
man, and I'll use as many code words as I can, but that's untrue. It's been documentedly
Oh,
proven that
really?
slave owners graped their property. So like that's not true. That's
Uh,
just something you wouldn't do.
groping and marrying is a completely different thing and
It
bringing into the
certainly
family.
is not.
Okay, really?
Not if it's not consensual, bro. No, if there's no consent. You're making it sound like if someone's truly racist, they won't associate with someone even if it involves atrocities, and that's just not true.
If they're really racist, dude, they don't. A real racist the guy's not racist. I mean, look at the stuff Biden has said. That's way past that gray line you're talking about.
Thank you. I was
Even
going to
from
bring
the
that up.
70s and 80s, not wanting his kids going to school in a jungle. Every single store around here has you can't go into one of these stores without having an Indian inside the store helping you. How many things
Or
are
if
there? I
you
can go on
or
and
if you
on.
vote for Trump, right? If you vote for Trump,
If
you're
you
not
vote for Trump, you're not really black. If you vote for
right.
Trump and you're black, I'm
And that was
Cuban,
my
dude.
question, is that you guys are doing the opposite. So you're saying that this type of racism is cool, the other type is not. I just said in the beginning, if
There
you
is
were
no cool
saying
type.
this is why I hate both of them, if it was Mexicans against the two candidates going right now, we would not have a discussion. But for some reason, to justify Trump's racism, you bring up Biden's, when I don't like either of them. I voted
Right.
for Bernie. I would have voted
And
for
I heard
Bernie.
your question. Yeah, you did say that, but we did answer and we told you that we don't believe he has said anything racist.
And I don't
That was the
believe
answer.
Biden has. And that's my point. So, like, if everything is going to be objective and all these things, then how do we get anywhere? If you're just going to say
Well,
that
that's the
these
thing
words
too. I
don't mean
feel that
this and that.
Patrick is just very
Okay, so
stubborn.
Patrick, post the question. Go ahead, Cynthia, you can answer.
Mr. Patrick, I just feel like sometimes you're also very stuck in your ways, and like I said before, even if we're showing you the evidence on where their Biden said all these racist comments, and you're
Please mute.
still denying it.
Edwin, I'm listening.
Guys, please mute so Cynthia can speak. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Sorry, did you hear me before, or do I have to repeat myself?
There's a lot of echo. Ozzy, can you mute, please?
Yes, sir.
No, I was saying to Mr. Patrick. I said, Mr. Patrick, we already we showed you, and we quoted the stuff that Biden said, where he shows that he's a racist, and you still tend to be in denial and not believe us. And it's
No,
not
I
what we're
didn't say
doing; it's
Biden
actually
was
what he said.
racist.
We're quoting Biden's mouth himself, and then we tell you about Donald Trump, and then you feel like we're just one-sided. I'm like, I don't see it that way. So I don't know.
Because
So
you can
sometimes when
only read
people, I
between the
feel like when
lines
you're
half of the time.
closed-minded like that, it's hard for us to have an actual conversation, because even if we show you the evidence, you don't believe the evidence.
I didn't
So it's
say I didn't
hard
believe it. I
to
didn't say
move
that I didn't
forward.
think Biden didn't say racist things.
Okay, let's let Patrick answer, and then I'm going to move on
Okay, and then I'll get-
to Dennis. Go ahead,
Cool, no, I
Patrick.
was gonna
Patrick,
say-
by the way, you can stay, by the way, if you want to, after you answer.
Okay, thanks. I was gonna say that I'm not saying that Biden didn't say racist things. I'm saying that you don't use that same logic that you were justifying the Trump thing. Well, that's out of context. He didn't mean that. It might be, you're not doing that when it comes to Biden. And that's my problem, is that I'm willing to admit that things could be better economically with Trump. I'm willing to admit all those things. I'm just saying, to me, if you are a racist person, even if it was Biden, I'm not okay with that. And I'm saying that Trump supporters do not like that fact. They're excusing felonies. They're calling them like fake. Like all these court things we're watching, these documents are just like made up things. And that's what I'm saying, is that no one has that attitude about anything except for Trump. If your neighbor got 90 felonies, would you get on TV and make a TikTok live and do all these things saying that,
But
oh
you
no?
Hold
you
on.
understand?
Let's let Patrick finish, and then
That
hold
was
on.
it.
Go ahead.
That was it.
That was it.
I just think that people seem to, maybe both sides are doing it if that's what you want, but it seems like people seem to give their candidate the benefit of the doubt and then want to have, some sort of execution for the other side when it doesn't seem to be fair. Like if you're saying you hate both of them, that's one thing. But to say you like Trump and not Biden and then bring up things like economy and race, I've heard people come up here that name all these Biden numbers you say are fake, and they say your numbers are fake. So I mean, what's really going on here?
Right.
Patrick.
Okay, so hold on a second,
I'll mute. Go
guys. Yeah, guys. Real quick, everyone watching, please tap the live and share it if you can. The topic for tonight is Mexicans for Trump, and you see the background picture right there is Cynthia, my friend. She's actually using my backup account. Vega.access is at the bottom right there. Please follow that account also. She's a Mexican American, and she's a special guest for tonight. I also want to add that Patrick is claiming that, in his opinion, Trump is a racist, and he does have a different opinion than I do. But I'll keep
Things,
him
not
but,
racist, said racist things, and I think
Okay,
that's,
so
unfortunately, in America, that's just how it goes. And I live in Kansas, bro. Like you got to deal with it. And I'm
Okay.
not. That's why I'm saying that you want to call someone racist, like they should be out of here. and then say someone else saying things that are borderline.
So you're saying that he
inappropriate.
says racist things, but he's not racist?
I'm saying that in today's day in America, I can just say that yes, people can say things they don't mean or things to get a rile out of people and not inherently think their race is better than the other.
Got it. Okay. Anyway, so I wanted to add that Patrick is being respectful to the live, even though he has a difference of opinion. I'll keep him here because I like to hear the other side too. And that's something that usually liberals don't like to do. They just get triggered right away, but we don't do that. We let them speak and then we hear them out. That being said, again, we're using triple K. If you're going to use that, please, we want to protect the life. No profanities. Mute your mic as other people are speaking, and then I'll move up. I'll move on the list. So I want to give the word to Dennis right now, and then we'll move up to Mr. Toxic, and then right in with Biden. So Dennis, go ahead.
All right, so Patrick, I'm going to pose a few questions to you, all right, and then I'm going to make a few points, all right. So my first question to you is, have you ever read the Triple K's website?
I most certainly have not.
Okay, so as a person or an intelligent man, do you not think that you should, so you understand who it is you're talking about?
So I get where you're going with that, and the reason that I have not is because I don't have the mental, like that's what my whole argument was in the beginning, is that I just don't have the mental capacity to argue with someone that has that kind of hate. They
All
can
right, you
have
understand?
like,
You
go ahead.
understand? I'm not asking you to argue with them. I'm asking you to educate yourself on who it is you're talking
No,
about.
man, you lose me. I don't like other ethnicities. Like even if there's a reason behind it or logics or math or physics, as soon as you say that statement, I kind of just switch to my new.
Okay, well, I'm not telling you I don't support them. I'm asking you if you've read their website before. All right, because if you take the time to actually read their website, you'll find that they support things like social justice, all right, and gender ideology and identity politics. And these are things that are inherently on the left, not on the right. All right, that's number one. So number two, all right. My next question is, have you ever actually gone and listened to Trump in person?
No, so he came here once, but once again, if you live where I live in Kansas, that's probably not a wise decision.
All right, so I assure you that were you to actually go and listen to Trump in person, by the end of the night, when you watch the news, you will see that what you witnessed is not going to be the same thing that you hear on TV. All right, you're going to hear a completely different take of what occurred while you were present listening to Donald Trump. All right, because you will have actually heard with your own ears instead of listening to what other people tell you that Trump said. All right. So interestingly enough, generally when you're watching media, all right, you'll find that what they do is they'll take a conversation that was had or a speech that was stated and they will take it out of context. And they tend to say, Trump said XYZ because they want you to be attracted to come watch their show, regardless of what those speeches are. For example, there were good people on both sides that claimed that he did not disavow the KKK, when in fact he did. All right, and
Okay,
if you
please.
actually heard, I'm sorry, my bad. All right, so when in fact he did, and he denounced white supremacy and things of that nature. So if you actually go and you watch the full video clip, all right, the true video clip, which you can probably find on Rumble because it's not censored there, all right, you'll find that there was a completely different speech than what you may have been exposed to if you only watch CNN or MSNBC or things of that nature. All right. So I assure you that Vega, all right, who's actually probably taken the time to seek out that information, all right, he understands that you can't get your news from just one or two news sources. You have to actually educate yourself much further. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I want
So
to, Patrick, do you want to respond to that? He brought you up, so I'll let you respond. Make it brief, please.
yeah, really quick. So what I was gonna say is, I guess there was a lot there with some of the not seeing the whole picture. I guess that if you're telling me that I'm going to go there and like he's going to start going on this rant about how he loves ethnicities and all this other kind of thing, then yeah, I'd be surprised that no one shows that. Were you going to say something?
I wasn't, but I can respond if you'd like. But I
Oh, okay. Well, no, and then the second thing that I was going to say about the disavowing thing and like all that. What's up?
I'm not sure what happened with
Can you
Patrick.
hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Are you still there?
Sorry. Yeah, yeah, no, I'm still here. Sorry about that. No, what I was going to say is that I think maybe he missed the beginning of it. The disavow thing is kind of, and I'll rewatch it after we get off this, but I don't remember him that day doing it. I remember outrage and then him the next day or days after saying he disavows it. And when you say the good people on both sides, that's the part that kind of is like the, I don't know, the both sides of your mouth thing, because when it comes to like normal Trump behavior, and we're not talking about that stuff, it's all these little Marcos, insults, this and that, the whole skit. But for some reason, it's this like, I don't know, kind of like effort to not say things bad, these like wink in the gun things, like I disavow them, like it didn't seem very genuine, at least in my opinion. And that's my issue about the twisting your arm thing, is that if you disavow something, it's going to disgust you out the gate. You're not going to need outrage or political people to tell you if it's a good move or what. It's just going to be who you are as a person. And that's usually what I vote based off of, because I'm not smart enough to say I'm an economist and I know all these things about milk and gas and the president. You know what I mean? Like that, I just don't know.
Got it. Okay, so that was he answered. I want to give the word to Mr. Toxic so everyone can speak. Go ahead, please. Uh, Mr. Toxic, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Can you hear me all right? All right.
Yes, you're good.
I'm, I'm toxic. I don't like white supremacy. And does that sound weird when somebody just comes out and says that?
No, not at all.
Okay. Uh, I got to give it to you as the host and your moderators, because I've been on plenty of other lives with the other side, and they won't let you speak. Like this gentleman has a chance to speak and kind of create dialogue with somebody else and speak his views and everything like that. Man, I really got to give it to you. That's much respect to you. And Patrick, I got to give it to you, man. Regardless, you have a whole bunch of people up here from the right, and regardless everything that's being said, you still have your opinions and ideas and stuff like that. And I got to give it to you. And just because our opinions ain't the same doesn't mean that this is wrong. That's why this is the best country in the world, because you can have different agreements, you can have different opinions, you can disagree, you can do all that stuff like that, you can protest, and you don't
I
die
know,
for
isn't
it.
that cool? Freedom of speech.
Yeah, you don't die for it. But I mean, a lot of people are trying to take that away from us just because certain people don't agree with each other. I mean, it's just one of those things. Patrick, did you talk about the gun thing, about you would let somebody unalive you just to?
Yeah, me personally, I have kids, and you'd get the exact opposite answer if it was like that. But I mean, yes, me personally, as a person, I just made that decision a long time ago. I grew up in DC in the '90s. It was the most terrifying thing of my entire life. I used to like have to walk my mom to her car from work, and it's just something that is out of control. And I just feel like people that use that as something in their lives are more susceptible to do something bad that they can't take back to someone else. And regardless of if it's justified or not, my brain just, I couldn't take it. I couldn't, I'd find some reason on why I could have done something else. I find some reason on why there could have been, you know, another route. You know what I'm saying? I get that people fight. I've been in fights my entire life, but you know,
So,
that's my one kind of never for any reason. And I have friends that do it. I'm not an anti pew pew person. That was just a personal statement for me.
so do you have children? Pat, do you got children?
Patrick, can
Okay.
you hear us? He asked if you had children.
Well, I'll just say
Okay, go
this.
ahead. Maybe he's busy. Go ahead.
I'll just say this. I have I have a child, or I have two children, and I will not let somebody unalive me just because I feel like I think that's kind of selfish in a way, because basically once you leave, your kids can't ever get you back. But like I said, I'm not trying to pick on the dude. I got to give him. He's got balls of steel for being up here, and I hope all the stuff that I've never heard once Trump say that he anything racist. I mean, the only thing I've heard him say is something like he likes tacos. I really have never. I've listened to a lot of other things, but I've never heard the guy say anything racist. I've heard Biden since he's been president or since he's ran for presidency, and uh, when he wasn't president, say, I mean, there's recording after recording after recording for him.
Got
But
it.
I mean,
I got your point. I just want to give others a chance to speak.
yeah,
I think we lost. I think we lost. Let me see here. Oh, Patrick. Okay, he's coming back. Okay, while Patrick is coming back, I want to give the word to Riding with Biden. He was here yesterday, actually, last night for last night's episode. So
Yeah.
welcome
Let me
back.
cut you back because I
Thank
think you
you.
missed that. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh,
I agree with you on the kid point, and that's what I said. That would be my only, you know, if I had access to one. I don't have one, but yeah, like if I understand what you mean, and that's what I mean. It's not that was not like a moral attack on someone. I just mean personally when I say things like no matter what, I really mean that as me a person. I get
got it.
people protecting their kids. My baby's mother has one. Like I get it.
Got it.
It's not like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Riding with Biden. Go ahead. Please make it short. Ask a question or your statement.
Oh wow. Well, I was gonna say like two parts of it because you know the thing about Joe Biden is this: he actually the things that you guys were talking about was in 1985, and I have the paperwork right in front of me. And he said something that he was claiming in a video that he was
When you say he,
producing.
who are you referring to?
Joe Biden. So you know the statement that he said that you know he was saying the you know racist things, which it says here it was him actually trying to retort something that somebody else, another congressman, was speaking about at that point in time. Because it says false. Well, this was the actual statement that he stated. He said, a video from 1985 hearing exposes Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden for using the N-word, stating, we already have an N mayor. We don't need any more N big shots, right? Now he says the whole thing is false because it says Biden was not making the statement himself. He was reading a racist statement made by a state legislator during a redistricting process in Louisiana that was overseen by a deputy attorney general nominee. Biden was questioning the nominee, and it says under oath about the comments during the U.S. Senate hearing. So there's that. And then I wanted to say it in Spanish, if you don't mind, because it says Mexicans for Trump. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure, hopefully, there's some Latinos here listening. So dicen que en esta cuestión que estaba aquí, que Joe Biden es racista, no es racista. La razón, esto es lo que pasó, era estaba hablando por otra persona que estaba hablando mal de las personas de colores. And that was just in Spanish. But, I mean, but like going about Donald Trump though, about him and his racist statement. I actually recorded a video too that he was actually talking about the Central Park Five. He was talking about the Central Park Five, and he actually attacked them poor children when they were young and they were incarcerated for something they didn't do.
So did the media, though, right? We spoke about this last night, I believe, too. Remember?
Yeah, and I actually got
So
the
did the
whole.
prosecutors too, right? But everybody just focuses on Trump. Remember? We spoke
No,
about
read the
that.
whole thing. I got the whole thing though, all of it.
Well,
Yeah.
even after that, they
Just
came
okay.
out
Hold on,
that
because
said that.
Riding
And
with
I
Biden
didn't get to
said
actually.
his statement. Do you want to finalize Riding with
Yeah, I
Biden real
just
quick?
wanted to
Go ahead.
finish the video about it.
You gotta lower that. It's too loud.
I gotta dip out.
Yeah, Biden. So I gotta mute you because that's just we cannot really understand what's happening there. Okay, so we'll come back to you on that.
But
Okay, I
I
want
was
to
just gonna
give.
finish up what he was. I'm just gonna say it blatantly. He never apologized anything to them Central Park Five people at all. And
Okay, okay. So that's your statement. We spoke about that last night. Go ahead. I want to give the word to Mika. I believe. Go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty much just to reiterate what Biden is saying. It's pretty much with any gaffe, usually somebody that's not racist would apologize. They pretty much will not do that. Actually, and Biden has had his gaffes, and he has not had the same thing over and over again. He doesn't double down on it like Trump does. He apologizes about it, and every gift that you bring up with him, basically, there is basically a statement, usually a day after, to where somebody tells him, "Hey, Biden, that was racist," and he apologizes. He apologized about the crime bill, and he did other things like that. But when you go to Trump, he doubles down, and that's even the headline. For every instance of racist things that Trump has ever said, he's never apologized. He's doubled down on them, and that's pretty much what Write-In for Biden it was pretty much pointing out that even in that recording, basically he didn't apologize. He said they're still guilty, even after they've been proven by the courts that they were innocent and they were wrongfully convicted. So
you brought up
that's
you
what
brought
makes
up a
Trump racist.
you
Okay,
brought up a
I'm glad, Mika, that you brought up. Actually, you showed us what the media is keep portraying about Trump. I wanna, if we can have Dennis reply to that. Dennis, do you want to reply to that?
Sure. I'm just putting my headset back on.
And I'll give the word to Cynthia if she wants to reply to that too. But let's give it to Dennis first.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So, how do you respond to Biden on busing and his segregation, his pushing of segregation during the busing incident that Kamala Harris, all right, actually called him out for?
He apologized for that.
Yeah. How many years later?
He apologized for it when somebody pointed it out to him. He apologized for it.
When somebody pointed out, do you know that? Like, do you remember he was the
He
one who came out
He
and
did.
said
Did
racial
he?
but
jungles?
do you
Did
remember
he?
that
Did
actually
he?
Greg Abbott was the one that was busting them all over the country to sending
No,
them
no,
to
no,
places that
Ryden. That's a
they weren't
completely
even
different
supposed to
issue.
be? Oh,
We're talking about Joe Biden, 1975, who said he didn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle. Those were his
oh, okay.
exact words.
I gotta
All
look that
right.
up.
Yeah, those were his exact words. So, how do you respond to that and then go back and say he's not a racist?
Because he apologized and he did not repeat that same behavior. Unlike Trump, who doubles down on it and does not apologize about it,
Doubles
and
down
he
on
says
what,
it again.
MLK? Doubles down on what, MLK?
Like for example, when he said, "Okay, remember when he had the Muslim ban, right?" And he said he was gonna day one, he was gonna regurgitate all that all over again.
Why did he implement
Single,
the Muslim ban, Ryden? Do you know?
well, supposedly about this terrorist attack thing on 9/11, supposedly, but
Okay.
Where was he
So
at though?
what? Now hold on. So
McDonald's.
he implemented a Muslim ban on specifically on 7 countries out of the 47. All right, that are actually Muslim countries. So
50
the
for the Pew
other,
Research
Yes,
Center, so it was more
But
because
actually.
you know what?
those are
so it's
You know
ground
actually
what's
house
more.
funny
Yeah,
though?
it's
So
actually
If
more. Hold
Donald
on,
Trump's
let Dennis finish. Right,
building,
let Dennis finish.
so
Hold on.
Ryden, the point is, if he were racist, he would have banned all Muslim countries, but he didn't do that.
Not true. Not true. Not true. He banned the heavily browned areas. That is the Middle East. That is the 7 countries where we outpopulate the white people 7-1. The
Okay,
parts
and
where we do not have the majority, he did not ban because his
did he
racist
ban
views.
Egypt? Did he ban Egypt?
yeah,
They're
It's not.
very heavily brown, aren't they? Did he ban Ethiopia?
They are not. They're not. They are white passing in that
Did he
area.
ban Did he ban Saudi Arabia? No,
That is Saudi Arabia. He is
but
in
he
the
didn't ban
pocket for
Saudi
Saudi
Arabia.
He didn't
because
ban any of
they
I'm
those that
just
they are
Dennis mentioned.
I'm
paying
just
Just I'm
him.
looking
pointing
at it
out to
right now.
you. I'm just
I'm
pointing out to
pointing
you.
out
Your
to you that
claim is
because
Hold on,
untrue.
let's let Dennis finish because everyone spoke. Let him finish. Go ahead, Dennis. Make your point.
All right, I'm simply saying at the end of the day, you can't make a blanket statement that he's racist when he's doing something based on policies that were left in place by Obama, who was going to also ban those same countries. Or did you not know that?
Okay,
but he never did because he knew that he was wrong in that. That's why they were never implemented.
No, now you're making stuff up, dude, because you clearly don't know what the state literally understand that all Trump was doing was implementing what the State Department was telling him to implement, and then people like you came out and said, "Oh, he's racist."
Okay, I want to give the word to Cynthia now. Cynthia, so, for everyone too, by the way, this is, how powerful the mainstream media is, right? This is how powerful they are. And we're hearing a lot of the talking points from CNN and from MSNBC. And that's what I keep hearing in a lot of the lives, by the way. Cynthia, do you want to, say anything here from what you've heard?
Well, I just kind of want to reiterate what you said before, where obviously when you see certain countries burning your flag, well, doesn't that raise a huge like concern? Obviously, you even in a personal level, right? I guess I always want to bring it to a personal level because I sometimes feel like we lose touch with reality. So I want to bring that point where, for example, in my neighborhood, if I were to see somebody that is doing throwing eggs in my house, well, obviously, wouldn't that also kind of like, well, I will be pay attention and like, and I would, in my case, and I'm bringing this example just so that I could maybe correlate and give you guys a different perspective on how I see things and why things were banned. So I kind of do agree with Dennis when he was saying that it was like based on policy. Well, obviously, you're gonna do things that are going to protect or also what is it called? Sorry, guys, my microphone was going off. To protect the country. So in my example, I'm trying to give is that at the end of the day, you have to protect where you live, right? So if you see these other countries are trying to come, and you know that whatever their points of view are not correlated to American values, well, that's concerning because you don't know what's their purpose in this country, right? Knowing that they have come from other countries and they have different belief systems, so you have to protect your home,
So you're saying
and
that
that's
he when he does certain things like that is based on protecting the country and not so much on being a racist as is being claimed by the mainstream media and some of the
correct.
guests.
Correct.
I've got
Yes.
a, I've got a
Thank
question.
you for that.
Aren't
Okay,
most of
okay,
aren't,
Toxic, go ahead.
Say something real quick though,
aren't most of those
because I
countries
wanted
I'll
high
let you speak, but Toxic hasn't spoken a little bit. Give him the word. Go ahead, Toxic.
aren't most of those countries highly populated terrorists? Have high populations of a high population of terrorists.
No, you are wrong.
Okay, so that's
Mika, can
I'm
you
wrong.
provide any source on that?
Oh, hold on. I'll just say this. Look, I'm gonna just go ahead and sound like whatever. When somebody comes and threatens you, tells you, "I don't like who you are. I don't like what you believe. you're not on my level. I would destroy you and your whole family and everything that you believe, burn it. Would you let that person in your house?
Are you
Who are you asking?
are you talking about people or people from the city? So say if
People,
you're from
people. If you say you had a group of people, right? And they didn't like you for what you believed or anything like that. They hated you for what you believe, what you look like, everything. And they said,
wouldn't
"Hey,
wouldn't
I
wouldn't you
will
ban
burn
the
you alive."
individuals that have that belief instead of a whole country that doesn't believe that? That's what the Obama policies did. They focused on individuals with heightened awareness of people from the area, but they had a list of people. Instead of banning the list of people that were people of interest, they outright banned people from that area of the country, and that was the
So hold on, hold on.
seven areas that was focused on that.
So you're saying exactly what I asked you the first time. That's a highly populated area of
No,
terrorists.
I would not do that for people
That's
of
what you
the
just
area.
said, though.
I would
I
only,
thought.
no, I would do that for the individuals. I would not do it for just anybody, blanket statement from anybody from that city. I would do it for the people.
So I'm just wondering. There's
Not
nobody with the
everybody,
same beliefs
not
that they do.
everybody from Iraq hates America. Not everybody from Syria hates America. Not everybody from Sudan hates America. Not
No,
everybody from
I totally
Yemen
understand,
hates America. It's the
but you think
individuals, and
one
it's a
person?
small group of people that are the most vocal, and that's where the racism comes from.
If
So
I
instead
may,
of looking at it as
But
individualized, it's just lumping everybody in and generalizing. That's what makes it
well,
racist.
but
Okay, I
but
just
may
want
I?
to hold on. I'm going to give the word to Cynthia, but Toxic asked the question, and I believe Micah answered. She answered no to that. Toxic asked if those countries were considered terrorist countries or supports of terrorism. So I just looked up a couple of them here. We spoke about those that were the original ban. So I have here countries. This is by the U.S. Department of State sponsors of terrorism. Okay, countries determined by the Secretary of State have repeatedly provided support of acts of international terrorism. And in this list, we have Iran. Okay, and then on another article, I also have here ISIS remains resilient and has sustained a low level insurgency in Iraq while continuing targeted attacks in Syria. So while their level is slow, it's still active. This is, by the way, the last one was in 2023. So that's as of today. But so yeah, so these countries, most of them are still active in that sense to answer the questions per the sources here.
Yes, but since those bans were lifted in 2020, when Biden was elected in office, how many terrorist attacks from those countries have happened? Zero.
So you would feel okay to ban it after we have another 9/11?
Even after 9/11, we didn't ban those countries. We vetted people that had more activity as individuals that were had ties
No,
to
but that
those
wasn't my
groups.
question. My question was, you
The
would
answer would
rather
be no.
another?
Then, no,
Okay,
no.
got it. I want to give Cynthia the word. She wanted to say something. Go ahead.
No, all I wanted to say in regards to Micah when he was saying it was just a small group of people, but you gotta remember sometimes the small group of people, they're the ones that create the chaos. So unfortunately, like in anything, right? You hear like, oh man, this unfortunate for the bad people, they ruin it for the good people, and that's how sometimes I feel that's why these policies are created, because you have to create policies and able to save the bigger population, right? So I just wanted to say in regards to that when Micah was saying that it was just a small group of people, so why ban the whole country? I'm like, well, unfortunately, that's how it always goes. Like, you know.
Well, I want to give the word
Well,
to Jesus before. I would just have one question for Micah, and I think I asked this to Patrick,
mhm.
but Patrick left us. Does the various footage of Trump denouncing the Triple K, does that mean anything to you? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Jesus, go ahead. You are welcome to the group. You can go ahead and share your
Thank
thoughts.
you, Tom. Once again, I was live like 2 days ago with talking with you, right?
Oh, yes. Welcome back.
Yeah. For me, there for I don't want people to judge me or attacking me, but for me nowadays, politics they went down. But when Trump was on the president, there's some things that I didn't agree with him. 50% I did agree with him, and 50% I didn't agree with him. Like, pero like I'm going to say, it's what he said that all illegal immigrants coming doing crime, they're rapists and murderers. Ahí está muy equivocado el Trump. And he's really wrong, but he does make a point that we have to secure our border.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but
I have.
but hold on, let me finish, please.
Go ahead.
Okay, okay, we do need to secure our border in the south and north. What about the border in the north? Because remember what happened in San Bernardino, California. The woman, the woman that hizo el desmadre in San Bernardino. Remember, they crossed the northern border to come to San Bernardino, California. So we have to secure the northern border too, as well. So, óyeme, there, hay dos fronteras que se deben enfocar. There's two borders that we must focus on, and the southern border and the northern border. So, and you discussed it 2 days that day that I went live with you.
That's correct.
When I got, you remember?
Yes, sir.
And by the way, huge respect for you, my Venezuelan American brother, and for everybody, for every American, because hey, we have our roots, but cada quien merece ganarse el respeto. Yo no soy, ¿quién soy yo para juzgar a la gente? Everybody has their opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. Okay, let them have their opinions, but why we going to have fucking attack a person for their opinions? You know?
Okay, so Jesus, just a reminder: no profanity, please. We're trying to protect the life. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes we get heated, and that's okay. But just please try your best to protect the life. Yeah.
I'd like to
So
respond
guys,
to him if possible.
yeah. Hold on one second, guys. Once again, please tap the live, and thank you for being here. The special guest for tonight, once again, is Cynthia, my friend. She's a Mexican American, and she's a Trump supporter. She's in the background right there. She's using my backup account. She does not have a TikTok, and you see my backup account right there at the bottom. Vega.access. You can go ahead and follow that account too, so that account can grow as well. I'm going to give the word to Dennis after Cynthia, though, because Cynthia did wanted to answer. Right now, the topic is protecting. Jesus brought protecting both North and South border. So go ahead, Cynthia.
No, and Jesus, I'm glad you mentioned that, and I do agree with you. And isn't that lovely to have a difference of opinion, or even correlate our opinions and be able to speak about it. And what I see is that sometimes we look at us having this discussion here in the United States, but there's other countries where you get persecuted if you even say anything that is not congruent with a certain belief system. So, and then now and then in regards to your protecting both the south and the north border, I agree as well. I remember even for the 9/11, the people came from Canada. It wasn't through the southern border. However, the southern border does have a lot of action going on. It has more action because, obviously all these other countries are below the southern border. So, but yes, in regards to protecting both, I agree with that.
Cynthia, do you want to reply real quick to what he said about when Trump, he brought up again
He
that quote
did.
that we spoke about that day, that Trump hates all Mexicans, so he called them rapists and stuff like that.
And another thing, Jesus, yeah, like 'cause this is another topic we talked last week, and I don't think you were in it, but we did talk about it, and he was just putting in context that yes, sometimes there is bad people. I am Mexican, but I admit that you think that the narcos or the freaking coyotes, and just so that people understand, the coyotes is the people that smuggle the immigrants through the border, and that's what they're called. So it's not that we're saying it's an animal. That's just the way they're called, just for the people that are trying to log in and understand what we're talking about. So when Trump said that, he does, for me, it's the truth. He's not being racist. He's just stating it like it is. They're not bringing their best.
Jesus, please mute
Obviously
your
those
mic.
people.
Thanks.
yeah, obviously those people don't they don't care. For them, it's just a business, and they use human trafficking and smuggling and the drugs that come through the border, and that's something that we also have to protect and make sure that we don't bring into this country.
Okay,
But
I want
again,
to give. Okay, go ahead.
no,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
I was just gonna say to Jesus, so Jesus, but for me, I didn't see it as a racist comment. I understood what he was coming from because then I read the whole context, I read the whole conversation, and again, the media took that narrative and then spun it around to make us hate Trump even more. But it's nothing like that.
Well, they took it
Beyond
completely out
that,
of
I want to
context.
give the word to Dennis now. Go ahead, Dennis.
All right. So what they did is they took it completely out of context. What he said was, and he said specifically, Mexico is not sending us their best. All right. And then he went on to say, said MS-13 and the gangs that are coming up from the south. All right. He referenced them specifically as the rapists and the murderers and things of that nature. So he was referring specifically to the gang members of MS-13. And what they did is they cut that out, took it out of context, and said he was referring to all Mexicans. So
Correct.
let's go back, and you need to watch speech.
And also, just so people know, MS-13, they're mostly Salvadorian, which is a different country than Mexico. Just so that people know what all that's at stake coming down from the southern border. You have Guatemala, you have, Honduras, Nicaragua, you have El Salvador. And now, and just so you guys know too, with the new president of El Salvador, before Trump left office, he was trying to build an alliance with the president of El Salvador to create safer borders
So
throughout.
far this year already exceeds the entire total from 2015. They are being released by the tens of thousands into our communities with no regard for the impact on public safety or resources.
Okay, so
Okay, Micah.
I don't,
Thank.
where's the part where he starts mentioning MS-13?
Well,
See, that
Micah,
he's
we were
not saying
referring
that.
to when he ran. Correct, Dennis?
Yeah. Well, either way,
And he's mentioned it
he's
several
showing.
times too.
So here would be my question, Micah. Are you sure that the video that you're showing is the
no, that's not the
whole
video. That's not the
speech?
video.
That is not the video that we're talking
He
about,
ended
Micah.
the
By the
life
way.
of an innocent young girl named
Yeah,
Sarah Reynolds.
he has many
But just so
instances
you
where
know,
he
Micah,
he says
there
that.
is there is Mexican people, and although they're also the same, like I don't know, you could say that they're also Mexican like me or whatever. Um, there are bad people out there. There are bad people, and they do
That's what
this
he's
horrible thing.
that's.
But
Do you
you know
ever
one
do you
thing
know what
about
dog
Donald
whistles
Trump,
are?
though, is that he
That's what he's
basically took
counting
the
Okay,
on.
hold
He's
on.
position.
counting.
Micah is sharing a statement. Go ahead, Micah.
Yeah, but that's what he's counting on. He's counting for people, immigrants thinking, oh, he's not talking about me. He's talking about the bad ones. He's talking about you. That's what he means. He's not. That's why he's not being specific. He's saying most of the people, and he's counting that you count yourself out. That he's not talking about you. Oh,
Yeah.
he's talking about the cartels. He's talking
So
about MS-13.
that's your opinion.
But that's being
That's your opinion.
specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't
That
see how you're
that's
not.
being very specific. Again, to me, I can tell you that I know. Okay, I know my community, and we have some really bad people within the community. I'm gonna be realistic to you. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, we're all good." No, just like any community, we have really bad ones and really good ones. And
Yes.
Trump says it the way it is, and some people don't like it, and that's okay. I want to give the word to Riding with Biden. Go ahead. You wanted to say something.
Yes, I wanted to actually ask you, when we talked about the Central Park Five, what nationalities were they? And I'm asking
We
this
didn't.
specifically to you.
We You asking me?
Yes.
We didn't speak about the nationalities.
Okay.
We spoke
What?
about what Trump said at that
Okay.
time. We spoke
So
about how the media. You guys
specifically,
need to mute your microphone, please. Thanks.
specifically, there was four black men and one Mexican, right? They were very, very young. Okay. So mind you, now I actually thought about this last night because I watched the whole video in its entirety. I watched everything. So moving forward, when he said about the Mexicans being rapists, okay, those 5 young men were actually charged with rape, okay? But they were found not guilty later on because they did the DNA testing and everything. They got settlements of $40 million apiece per person. One of them is actually running for Congress right now. But mind you, with actually from after to that time till now, when he ran in 2020, I mean no 2016, he used that phrase, Mexicans are rapists, which is actually he's still stuck in that mindset back then. He hasn't changed and he won't change. He's the same person he was back then.
May I,
To the point
So
may
where
I
he
butt in
is.
and say something real
But
quick?
so
the
yeah,
difference
I want to
between
give the
Joe
word.
Biden, the
Go ahead.
difference between
Let
Joe
Ryden with Biden finish. Go ahead, Ryden.
I was
Please
gonna
make it
say this
brief.
up real quick and then let everybody speak. But the difference is that Joe Biden actually learned from his mistakes, apologized from his mistakes for his mistakes, and moved forward so everybody could be equal in this country. Not just one, one set of race. It's for everybody. It's for Mexicans, Chinese, Indians, any type of immigrant that embraces that country. That's what Joe Biden is all about. But you know what?
Hold
One
on.
thing is
I don't believe that
Joe
one hundred
Biden
percent.
actually
Hold on. Let him
funded his
finish.
whole
Let him finish.
entire
Let him
life.
finish because he waited for everyone to speak. Go ahead, Ryden. Go ahead. Finalize.
Joe Biden actually worked his whole entire life to be in the position that he's in. He embraces this country. He was not handed down, where he actually, Joe Biden appreciates his position. That's why he's fighting so damn hard. But everybody knocks him, all the Republicans, because they wanna be win. They wanna hold him to that power, and that's it. That's
I
just sad.
Okay.
Hold
Well,
on.
I think it's not himself, to be honest with you, and he's tripping too. I had to
So
throw
for
that
the
in there.
record,
But just hold on one second. Just hold on one second. Right, and when you watch a documentary or when you watch something, you have to be very careful, okay? Because usually the media or whoever, you have to look at who's editing the video, what's behind it, where is it being posted. Usually there's an agenda. So I like to be careful and really watch different points of view, because if we watch, I think, I'm not sure if it was you or someone else brought it up at the other live about, I watched one documentary and this is telling the truth, and that's not a fact. You have to be careful with what you watch, because you can be heavily manipulated by anything you see on TV or on social media in general. So that's
But
why I
I
like
mean,
to, well, you
I
mentioned that
actually
you watch a documentary or,
I
or a
watched like
program about it.
all kinds of videos. I
Right.
researched his documentaries, everything about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, both of them.
Right, right. So I'm just
And I
saying
mean, I know top to bottom from both of them. So there's no like,
yeah,
you know
and
what? If you actually watch his story, you'll actually be amazed for all the crap that he's been through to actually get to the position that he's at. Especially his son that fought for this country and died for this country.
okay.
And that's very
So
demeaning.
we're not talking about Biden's son, but specifically, you did bring up the Mexican comment again, Trump with the Mexican comment again, and if you watch the whole unedited film, even right there, he referred to the border, and he also said they're not all coming from Mexico. By the way, he added that. Right there, but the media cut it as soon as he said, and some I assume are good people, and they cut it right there, and that's what it was shared all over the world. But if you go watch the whole speech, you can see the entirety of what he said. Hold on, because Cynthia wanted to say something before I said something. Go ahead, Cynthia.
No, I just want to see. And before I continue, I just want to make sure. Do all of you guys live here in the United States? All the people that are here on the live?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
Just
No,
said yes,
all I
and I
wanted
believe
to
I
Ryden
say.
said
do
yes.
understand that question because I mean there has been a lot of different lives that there were people from like Australia and other places. So I know for me, yeah.
Okay, seems like everyone is from the U.S., and if someone is not, please just say no, and then that answer the question. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Let me formulate my question right now, Max, and then I'll come back because I'm writing something down. Give me
Sure.
one.
Okay. Okay. So I believe Toxic wanted to speak. Am I correct?
yes,
Okay, go ahead.
Joe Biden believed that everybody should be treated the same and all that good stuff like that. I hate to sound like something that I'm not, but there was a white kid murdered by 7 black kids, and nothing was even brought up about it. Nothing. No BL. No nothing like that.
Hold on,
Guys,
Micah. You can interrupt like this. Let him ask the question, and then we'll move on. Go ahead, Toxic. You can finish your question.
No, nothing like that or anything like that. All Joe Biden does is just pander. That's all he does. He just wants to get in people's feelings and pander to them. That's it. I mean, you can. That's all most Democrats even do. Biden was in the office for what, 40 years and has done nothing. Did he apologize for um oh god, that one what's the one
Crime
bill we
bill?
just no, the crime, yeah, there you go, the crime bill. And did he apologize for that? I mean, did he
Yes,
also
he did.
apologize? And you
Okay,
He
so
honestly,
voted it.
so Toxic
He just
is asking a
mistaken the
question.
crime.
Micah is going to answer.
And
Go ahead.
that's the 1994 crime bill that we're talking about from Joe Biden that he sponsored.
yeah.
He wasn't the only sponsor either.
But that wasn't the question,
No.
Micah. The question was that he apologized.
Yes, he apologized.
So Toxic, she said that he did. Can anyone verify that?
I'll bring it up right now.
Why didn't he
Okay,
Why do
fix?
you think he apologized though?
Micah, you can just tell us the source, and then we can look it up because it's really hard to see your screen from here.
There's many sources. There's The
Okay, just pick
Hill,
one.
there's
Why do you
Because
Fox
think he
remember, he
News.
was the
apologized?
leader. Biden was the leader of that bill, and I'm reading it right now. Hold on one second.
So why didn't he fix it under Obama and under while he was president?
Good question,
the guy that
Dennis.
was supporting that bill.
That's what I was
Hold
trying to.
on,
He
Dennis.
was
Dennis asked
supporting
the
that
question. Hold on,
bill. He was Republican
Right in. Hold
that,
on. Dennis asked the question. Go ahead, Dennis.
bring their best.
While he was vice president under Obama, why didn't he work with Biden to fix the crime bill?
Okay, so
He did.
Micah, you want to
He
answer
did.
that?
He did do that.
No, he didn't. Trump did.
Yes.
Why
No,
did
Trump did not. Trump did
Yeah.
not do that.
actually? You're absolutely incorrect. Trump actually did, in fact, reform the crime bill along with
Yes.
many members of the black community. So you're absolutely incorrect.
Okay, Micah, do you want to answer to that? He was talking to you directly.
He did not. He said he would, but he never did.
Who, Biden
He
or
was
Trump?
Trump was all talk about it. He talked about it about being just reform, and that
Fix,
was a popular stance amongst GOPers, but he never put forth any bills
So,
or
so,
passed
so, what was
anything.
the bill that Obama and Biden did? What was the name?
It was it was
So we can look it
the
up.
weed it was the weed bill. Let me see here. Obama weed bill. It was the weed. Let's see here.
Is the 94 the Jim
Oh, how
Crow
about
Act?
that? You know what did happen though? Trump administration did drop Obama era easing of marijuana prosecution because most of the people from the crime bill was selling marijuana, and that was the biggest thing for them. And Obama revamped that and made it so that anybody that was convicted of marijuana possession, basically their sentences were either dismissed or the charges for it, basically for the law, was basically null and void. And Trump brought
Wrong
that
bill.
back actually.
Wrong
Trump,
bill.
Okay, so let's
Trump
let Dennis.
the
administration
first
dropped
step
Hold on,
back.
hold
Obama
on.
era
Let
easing
Micah
all of
finalize, and then
marijuana
we'll give the word to
conviction
Dennis.
prosecutions. Trump reversed that. That's all Trump did.
Okay, Dennis, you want to respond?
Trump passed a bill called the First Step Act. You are absolutely incorrect. Go back and do your research, son.
What about the Jim Crow laws?
Okay, I just don't want to jump from topic to topic.
Did he
Dennis
apologize for that?
asked the question, and we're waiting for Micah to do the research. Just hold on, just 1 second, guys. Jesus, do you want to share a statement? I do have to let you go because I have someone waiting. Do you want to share a statement? You can always re-request, by the way, if you want to come back. I just
fine.
have another person to join.
Yeah, this is my last time, man. Okay. Here's the thing, though, about this president, Joe Biden. Is it okay to send 61 or no, 36 billion or 40 billion to Ukraine or billions and billions of dollars to Israel instead of that money should be staying here in the United States?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yeah. You
Answer
want to
me
know
that.
why? I'll tell you why. First off,
Thank you, Jesus, for
in
the question.
Ukraine, it's
And you
all
can
for
request later.
military aid. For Ukraine, it's military aid. And then, you see, the problem with that is that we're actually do owe them for their missiles that they actually gave to us, in order for us to support them in case they ever needed assistance. So now they need us because they were invaded by Mr. the P word. I'm not gonna put that on blast because I don't want to get your life banana. But we in this country, we owe favors for our allies because we're supposed to back up our allies. Period, hands down. Because of the simple fact that if we need somebody, that's why we're the United States. Because we're supposed to be
Yeah,
united, but we're hella divided.
but
Hella divided.
because it's so
Okay.
political, and the only ones gaining from that
No.
war is them themselves. Is the American people are not gaining anything.
How do you
All right,
figure?
Ryden, Ukraine is not a member of NATO. We do not owe them anything.
That, no, you are absolutely correct. But they actually gave us their nuclear missiles back in the day before Obama, and they said that we gave a pact with them that if they ever needed our help, that we would support them, and we honored our debts to people that we
Actually,
owed to for centuries.
No,
Actually, that agreement was with Russia directly, and that agreement was that Ukraine would denuclearize. In exchange, NATO would move no further toward the Russian border. And we have continued to move further toward the Russian border. And in doing so, we have broken our word to the Russian government that we gave. That being said, if NATO is intent, or our State Department is intent on bringing Ukraine into NATO, we have broken our word as a country.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Before we continue, hold on, Cynthia. You mentioned earlier you were writing a question. Let me know when you're ready with that. Uh, are you ready with that, or
no, continue because now it's a
okay?
different Now it's a different topic. I mean, now we're
Got
talking
it.
about Ukraine.
Got it. I mean, you can always bring it back up if you want to. Just let me know whenever you want to bring it up. Right now, I want to give the word to you, Yor. Go ahead, Yor. Welcome.
Hi. So I just wanted to know if Riding with Biden could provide us with like a video or an audio clip of that speech where Donald Trump supposedly said that Mexicans were racist. So I'm just curious because I've watched the entire speech and
You meant
that
rapist, right?
statement was that statement was never made. He was discussing, like you said, specifically the gangs and the bad people that are crossing the border, along with normal people who are not bad. He very clearly stated that that was who he was talking about, were these gang members, violent people, people with criminal history, that sort of thing.
Got it. Okay, so we're back on the topic about Trump and the infamous quote. Riding with Biden left us. I don't know what happened. Riding with Biden, you can join again. I'm not sure. The question was for him, but Micah went back to. I think she got. I'm not sure she got the right video, but Micah, can you tell us please what you're sharing?
They beat us all the time.
It's pretty much the full video.
We beat Mexico at the border. They're laughing at us.
Okay, let's see if she can play
And now
that
they're
part.
beating us economically. They are not our friend, believe me. But they're killing us economically.
That's still not the video.
The U.S. has become a
It's
dumping
his campaign
ground
It's hard to
announcement, the whole
tell.
speech.
It
for
might be. Yeah,
everybody
it might
else's
be.
problems.
It's part of it. It's not the whole thing. It's a clip.
All right, let's see
It's
let's
47
see.
minutes.
Okay, let's see if we can say the whole thing.
It's true. And these are the best and the finest. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems. And they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But I speak border guards, and they tell us what we're getting. And it only makes common sense. It only makes common sense. They're sending us not the right people. It's coming from more than Mexico. It's
Okay.
coming from all over South and Latin America, and it's coming probably from the Middle East.
Okay.
But we don't know
You
because we
can
have no
Right,
protection.
you can pause it
that
right
is
there.
a fact.
Not even,
Yeah.
That
I
is
want
what
to, I
You
Well,
border
can
it's
want to
you
too
can
say
late
pause
one
it
because
right
thing.
you
there.
Hold
guys
Hold
keep
on.
on.
saying like
Hold on.
it's all cut off, but it's not cut off. He doesn't mention anything about
No, we weren't
Thomas
saying
13
that
or
that
anything
was
else like
clipped.
that. He was
We're
early.
not saying that you clipped
No,
it. What we're
Dennis was
saying.
earlier. Dennis was earlier before you came in. Dennis was earlier.
No, but what I'm saying is that what you just showed us is a true fact. He spoke to these border agents. That was what was coming across our border. Is there
He's
anything
not
wrong with
talking
what
to
he
border
said?
agents.
Okay, one at a time. Micah, you shared
Oh,
the video. Now
yeah.
you gotta let us respond. Go ahead, Mandy. Go ahead, respond.
Yeah, there's not absolutely nothing wrong with what he said. I'm just curious as
Agree
to
with Mandy.
And
how that
because that's
translates into
racist.
Let's let
Mexicans are
Mandy respond,
rapists.
please, and then we'll move on. Go ahead, Mandy. Finalize.
I'm just curious as to how that statement right there, that part that we just heard, how that translates into Donald Trump said that Mexicans are rapists.
Okay,
It literally does not translate.
so Mandy asked the questions. I'll ask the special guest. She's a Mexican American and Trump supporter. Cynthia, do you think that was racist? Yes or no, and why, please?
Yeah, no, not at all. I agree with Mandy. It's just stating the facts because you're being specific of what's happening at the border. There's nothing racist about that, and for you to say that that's racist, I just don't understand or comprehend how you could even fathom that in your head when he's just stating the facts.
Did you see the part where he says it's not you, it's not people like you, that's the dehumanization. He's talking about Mexicans. He's talking
Because
about all of them
unfortunately, there is
because
people,
there is
Mike.
dog whistles. He
Unfortunately, there
doesn't
is
outright
people
say
that
those
don't
racist
care and have
things.
no interest whatsoever for what's best for the United States, and they just do whatever they're gonna do, and then they bring it. They bring all this. Yeah, I hate to say it, bad
Micah,
people to this
he was
country
also
where we
he
don't
was
want.
also he was also pointing to Mexican Americans in the
I
crowd.
think that's I
Micah.
think that was Micah's point. He was probably saying that he's pointing at white people
I go
instead
back
of
to the same thing that I said last week, and I think you guys were not there, but this is what I say. When Sweden or when Norway or when you're applying for any other citizenship and those particular countries, and I bring those countries just because I know for a fact that you have to prove why are you getting into that country. There's a process in all the countries in the world. There's a process to get into that place. Okay. So when you're just jumping the border, well, these people are not being vetted. We don't know what their intentions are. I go back to another example. Cuba, for example, in the 1980s, when there was a drug wars, remember, Cuba, they released all the people that were incarcerated to come to the United States. These people had a lot of mental issues. They didn't care. And that's how in that 1980s. So I'm giving you an example as a reference point to now go back to this. And when Trump is saying this, that's how I see it. Where no, they're not bringing the best because Mexico, of course, the best of Mexico, like the best scientists, the best lawyers, doctors that our Mexico has. You think they're gonna come and cross the border just like that? No. Obviously
Yeah,
the
can
people
I
that do
also
wrong.
just say one other thing? I just want to
Go
say this
ahead.
is why the mainstream news is so dangerous because just like what Dennis was saying, they actually show in the main video, the one where they were broadcasting this speech, who he's pointing to. He's pointing to people who are holding Latinos for Trump signs or Mexicans for Trump signs.
Yes.
And that's why he was relating
Can you
that
show us that?
particular
Can you show us
statement.
that?
And that is why the mainstream news is so dangerous because they show it in one light, in one aspect, so that people like you get fired up and think he's an racist, which is the whole narrative that they spewed his entire presidency.
It's
You
his
know what? By the
actions as
way,
well.
It's
hold on.
not his
I
actions,
just
it's
want to
what
add
you're
something.
viewing his actions as.
I just want to
When
add.
it's brought up
Thank
to
you,
Trump,
Diesel. I
he
appreciate
doesn't.
that. Hold on one
Right, he
second. I want to add
doesn't bring
something
the.
to. Hold on, Mike. I'll give you the word in a second. Hold on. I just want to add something to what
Sorry.
Mandy said. Actually, when he said that, right? It's not sending you and not sending you. I didn't even think of it the way Mike is thinking about it. I thought of it as good people. They're not sending you that are good people. I didn't think of it as who is he pointed at? What color skin is he pointing at? You know, I didn't think about it like that. So I never even looked into it because, again, I'm not always thinking about racism and you know what color is he referring to, or he's talking about. It's more about the fact. So that's what I looked into. That's how I took it when he said that. But you're right. The media
That's what
manipulated
he's
that
counting on,
heavily.
though.
But you
But
got
that's
to
what he's
Let me
counting on,
finish.
though.
Let me finish. The
a lot.
media manipulated that heavily, and after he said, and I assume some are good people, it ended right there. And you can see that he actually was still speaking, but they cut the clip right there and they just shared it worldwide. Go ahead, Mike. I want to give you the word back, and then we'll go to toxic.
All right, but again, that's how racism works through dog whistles and implying. He's not going to come out here like a 60s racist exploitation film. That's just a dramatization of racist. Racism is through microaggressions and wordplay. He's not going to come around and say, I hate all Mexicans. He's going to imply that he's not talking about all the Mexicans, just the bad ones, just the ones that are coming here over the border. And that's what he is hoping on. That's why
But
he
you
words them
just
the way
said
they are.
Dude,
you
Dog
didn't.
Okay,
whistles.
I'm gonna give the word to Toxic, but before I do that, I just wanna share this real quick. Okay, I googled this racism definition: prejudice, discrimination by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is minority. So again, he wasn't referring to a minority specifically of race. He was referring to the ones crossing the border. That's a specific group, and like he mentioned it right there, it could be from anywhere in the world.
No, he mentioned only South American
This
countries.
is a
But
I
you
can
want to
replay
take
it.
it. You want to take it. No, you don't have to replay it. We heard it already. You want to take it that way, and that's dangerous because if we go and look at racism that way, then no one can speak anymore because we got to walk on eggshells now. Because anything you can say could be labeled racism, and that's not true. We have to be very careful with that. Go ahead, Toxic.
it's the thing is when people hate so much, they look for anything to reconstruct to make it trigger other people. That's what the news does. It panders. And you just proved it. I mean, you took a clip that wasn't a full clip and then
I
showed it, or I don't know if that was you or the other. It might have been the other gentleman.
I could play
And
the
then you just
full
took,
unedited 47
then
minutes.
you just showed
But even
this
what
clip
you
right
showed,
here.
Micah,
But
I
then,
didn't see anything racist with that. I
but
just saw
then,
that he's speaking the facts.
Yeah.
then you just showed the full clip,
Let's let
way
Toxic
more.
finish. Go ahead, Toxic, and then we'll go to Dennis. Go ahead, Toxic.
then you just showed this clip, and you were triggered by a man saying like you, and you when I totally didn't get that as him pointing to anybody as in just good people like the host said. I mean, if you can take anything out of text, rearrange it, and make it look bad. I think when you need to you all Mike, just take a minute out, take a breath and open your mind up, man. Not
I do because he has a history of racism. This isn't the only thing he said.
Thank you,
This isn't a
Jamie.
gaffe. He doubled down on his speech when later they asked him, "What did you mean by Mexicans and they're not bringing their best?" He said, "Because they're all not bringing their best over. I mean every word I said." And he doubled down with even more racist shit. He didn't apologize. He didn't say he misspoke. He said he meant
hold
every
on.
word of that.
Let's
Of
be
And
careful
course
with
he would double
profanity,
down
please.
on
Let's be
it.
careful with
Of
that's
profanity,
course he would
please.
and then
double down on it.
then
I
he
would
went.
double down on it too. It's the truth.
You
It
keep
was the
bringing up
100% truth.
It's not
So
the
why
truth.
not double down on it?
It's not the
you
truth. I
you
know
you
many
keep getting
people.
mad about things and then you keep saying that somebody needs to say sorry about it or apologize about it.
Yes, because
You
that's what
honestly
you do when
you
you're not
honestly think
racist.
that
If you're
people
a
that
racist, you double down on the racist things that
Oh
you
God.
say. You don't
so you
explain further.
or maybe the reason why he doesn't explain further is because he doesn't think it's racist and that's not what he meant. But you're some way triggered thinking that's what he meant. I mean, you
Okay.
just
Go
It goes
ahead.
by the
Toxic.
actions.
Finalize. Toxic. Go ahead.
you just got mad about him saying like you, and you. I mean, come on now, man. Like, you're not really opening your mind up. You just see all you do is hate.
Okay, thank you, Toxic. That's going back to what I said. It's like we got to walk on eggshells now because anything can be labeled racism, and I think that's very dangerous. Dennis, go ahead.
I'm busy looking through Rumble for the entire speech. Give me a minute, Vega.
Okay, no problem. Cynthia, do you want to add something to that?
Um, like yes and no. At the end of the day, I just feel like I go for Trump because I'm gonna reiterate the reason that I go for Trump. I feel like
I just
he's a
don't mean
better.
to. I just want to say this real quick. It's
Yeah.
important what she's saying because she's a Mexican American. So if anything, she should tell us how she feels about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, because when I do see, I actually went last year to the border to see for myself because I'm like, well, I'm that type of person that I have to see for myself, and especially now with all the media that's been corrupted and we don't know what's the truth or not. And so I did go to the border. I did see a lot of people on the other side of Juarez, which I went to El Paso. And when I saw the people that are just waiting there, and I also was like, well, why are these people just waiting there? It's like they wait there to get called, and then I guess on the, like and at night is when they come in masses. But for me, I did see a lot of people that were also not Mexicans, were also a lot of from Central America, and that's concerning to me because I know that I also do watch the Latino news, and some of those countries, well, they have different belief systems as well. So I agree with Trump again, where when he says they're not bringing the best, I'm like, well, they're not, and we don't know what these people's intentions are, and this people's idea of United States is like, okay, just come here, come feed me, and I don't know what they expect that they want to get from the United States. And there's a give and take where I believe where you have to cross the border legally. If you want to come to any country, just like I have to every 4 years apply for, well, now they changed the laws here in Nevada where I'm from, but just like we have to abide by rules, there's rules that needs to be in place. And I feel for me, I'm for the wall because of that. I feel it separates good ideas from bad ideas, and what I mean by that is also good people from bad people, people that don't want the best for this country. And I do want the best for this country because this is where I live. So I just want these people to be vetted to make sure that we are bringing decent people that are gonna abide by the rules, just like anybody else here. I know I tried my best and I do everything I can and I abide by the rules and make sure that my registration is always on point. I have insurance on my car, things like that of nature, where these people think that they could just be here and live for free or something. That's how I see it.
Yes,
Thank you,
but
Cynthia. Micah, you want to say something? Go ahead.
yes, they're just coming here to work, and basically, if you don't abide by the rules, you get arrested and deported. We already have a system in place to deport them back, and that's just the facts about that. And basically, with that, it's just the series of Trump's racist things about how a Mexican judge is not fit to be a judge because he feels that his
Okay,
allegiance is
let's
not
just
with
stick to one
Mexico.
subject though. Let's stick to the immigration subject. 'Cause I know you want to play all these clips, but let's stick to the subject. That way we can answer the specific
Can I speak
questions.
on one thing when he's finished?
Yeah, Micah, hold on a second. Can you pause that, please? Let's just stick to the topic here because we
Yeah,
can't just
go
keep
ahead,
jumping from
Mandy. I
clip
want
to
to see
clip.
what she wants. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I just wanted
That's what
to
I'm trying to say.
mention
It's not just
that
one thing with Trump; it's multiple things. That's what I mean.
yeah. Hold on, Mandy. But before you go, Micah, just real quick. So since you said they're coming here to work, those are that are crossing the border, right?
These aren't
And
just yeah. It's just these aren't one-time things that Trump has said. He has a history of
no, I know, but
10,000 racist remarks.
that's in your
10,000.
opinion. That's in your opinion,
No,
and
that's the facts.
no, that's your opinion.
That are the
So,
facts.
so you said that these individuals crossing the border are coming here to work, right? They are coming at random, as we see some of the clips, and they're just crossing. Would you pick up any of these families at random into your home
Why
and let
not?
them
Yes.
stay in your home?
Yes, why not?
You would. So why haven't you already?
Who says I haven't?
I'm asking you.
I have. I
You
let my
have.
Mex I let my family from Mexico stay with me
No,
all
no,
the
no. I
time.
didn't say family. At random. You go to the border, you stand right there. Whoever crosses next, you get, whether it's a man, mother
Sure.
with kids, a handicapped
Sure,
person,
why
at
not?
random, total
Why
stranger.
not?
Are
Sure,
you
why
would be
not?
okay with that?
Yeah, but I'm 600 miles away from the borders, so good
So it's
luck with that.
so it's easy for you to say, let them come in, and you're 600 miles away.
Yep, let them come in. They can stay with me.
They can stay with you. Okay, Mandy, go ahead.
So I just wanted to mention that so this year for Christmas, my family and I were sponsoring a family, and we met them through leaders at our church. And this woman and her family, her husband didn't make it across the border. I guess something was not in order, and or he's coming later, or we don't really know the full story. But she has told me absolute horror stories about women who they picked up along the way that were just laying on the ground, bleeding on their backsides from being RAPED. The thing that, nobody seems to believe happens at the border by cartels and evil people. And it does not matter what race they are or what country they're coming from. They are crossing at the border and they are terrorizing women and children. Not all of them, just like Trump said in the speech, not all of them. I'm sure there are plenty of good people that do just come here that want to work and that have the right intentions. It does not change the fact that there's an appropriate way to handle the border and to have immigrants come to this country. We want them to come to this country. So does anybody else. Like, we want them to come, but we want them to come the right way so that these sort of horrific things are not happening to women and children at the border. And I guarantee the woman that I've spoken to, I don't want to say too much about her specific story, but she would tell you the same thing.
Do you know why that's happening? Because those coyotes have a black market business for crossing the border. Because they sneak people in because the border is closed. It's not wide open. It's not basically just everybody come over because we have strong border security. That's why they're there, and they're taking advantage of those women, unfortunately, and they are SAing them and taking advantage of the situation. And unfortunately, people are getting in the crosshairs of that because we have a strong border.
Where are the
Well,
coyotes
Remain in
from,
Mexico
Micah?
prevented that.
Where are the coyotes from?
They're from all over.
From all
They're
over? From
most
where?
they're mostly Mexican Americans who make it a
Mexican
business to
Americans.
to bring people over.
Okay, how do you know they're Mexican Americans?
Because that's if you go to the border, the Homeland Security website, they list off the names and the mugshots.
What, can you provide a source?
The Department of Homeland Security website .gov.
Okay, what's the article? What's the exact article?
This year.
Listen, as you guys looking that up, I do want to say this on my personal experience. Even me as a Mexican American person, when I go to Mexico, I get tracked down because they know right away that I'm not Mexican, and even the police pulls me over and they want their cut. So that's why I don't drive in Mexico, because when I go, and I
Who
don't I
wants their
don't even want
cut?
to go visit the Mexican police. I get pulled over by the Mexican police when I go to Mexico, and I get harassed by them. So, and this is just me, this is just something vague. So can you imagine now when they're crossing the border and you have these people that they don't care. They don't follow any rules in Mexico as much as we do here in the United States. At least in the United States, I feel safe. Where I go to Mexico, I just always stay in the tourist places because for the most part, I don't, unless I go with a family member that I know I'm gonna be that knows their way around. But for the most part, I don't travel around freely in Mexico like I do in the United States. Just that alone speaks volumes because it goes to show you how free we are in this country, and we have to protect those freedoms that Mexico doesn't have. In Mexico, if you go from one state to another, you're being harassed by the Mexican police, and then they want their money always to be exchanged as a, as part of the harassment, and I don't like that. I really disagree with that. So that's just a minor example that I'm trying to give you that even when I go to Mexico, I don't like. So now can you imagine everything that's happening on the border and all the people that are crossing that we don't even know what their really intentions are. And yeah, when I went also to the El Paso downtown area, most of the people, they were mostly a lot of males on that side when I went. And they just like sitting there expecting like for the government, for the United States government to like help them. And it's like, well, okay, they come here to work. Well, I don't see how that's possible because it's a whole process. It's not easy. Just okay, I'm gonna cross the border. So now what? But now because they do are over here, we have to also feed those people because we have the humanitarian rights and stuff. But all that stuff, it's how do I say it? It takes a toll.
So, Micah, what you're pulling up there are those that come through the legal port of entry. That's what you're referring to. I'm talking about those that actually take the smugglers that take them through through the wall, through the actual border illegally, not through the legal port of entry. Because yes, we can find some Americans that have done that, and that's what you're looking at right there.
Well, yeah,
You know that
that's
there are other coyotes, right? Not just through the legal port of entry.
yes, the ones that smuggle.
I mean, there's are things that we don't even talk about, but I mean, there's always when there's a will, there's a way. So even the bad people. But I'm just saying, for me, the wall, I feel like at least it will prevent it just a little less because evil's gonna come or people are gonna come no matter what, But at least it prevents it from being in a mass production.
Yeah, I think it's just very unrealistic to think that they're all good people and that they're all coming here to work, and that's just false. A lot of them, a lot of those asylum cases are not even valid cases, and I can tell you that as a Venezuelan American, I know that from my own community because I've heard of people that know people that are doing that right now and are claiming asylum, and it's not a valid case. But most likely all of those asylum cases, most of them probably will get declined, but they'll be here for probably the next 3 to 6 years, and who knows what could happen at that point. Mandy, would you let any of the? You mentioned that you were sponsoring someone. Was this someone you were sponsoring through immigration, or was it just a different way?
No, so it's actually it's
Micah,
like
can you mute your
they put
microphone,
up
please?
Sorry.
they put up a Christmas tree at our church that had like lists clipped to like ornaments. And if you're a family, they made a statement that if you're a family that is able to and willing to like sponsor a family for Christmas this year, like to help their kids with Christmas gifts, it was basically like Christmas wish lists.
Okay,
And
so
so we
it was like
sponsored a
donating.
family. Yes, correct.
Oh, okay, I
Mhm.
misunderstood that. Okay, so
Yeah.
you were sharing the family story
Yes, correct.
of
Yes,
what
the
they're living over
mother
there
of the
right now.
family. Yes.
Okay, got it, got it, got it. Okay. So,
Yeah, she was just telling me like what she saw with her experience at the border.
yeah,
Some of the women and children that they tried to help along the way, coming here. And she was
copy,
talking about, crossing the Rio Grande and the boats and how they would push people off if they, were and just all sorts of things that she
copy.
was
So,
telling me. It was
so
horrific.
Micah said that she would actually take in a random a migrant family at random into her home. Would you do that, Mandy?
I would not. Absolutely not.
Okay. Micah said that the Micah said that she would take it, but that hasn't happened unfortunately yet. So hopefully it happens soon. Uh, Mandy, Micah's also sharing a footage from people crossing and basically jumping over or going through the wall, cutting through the wall.
That
Uh,
wall does nothing.
eh,
It's
eh,
not needed because they
right.
just get through
I'm
it.
going to your
We're
point.
border
I'm going to your
laws.
point. Hold on. I'm going to your point. So, Mandy, do you think that we need more than the wall at this point?
Well, yes, but also I'd like to clarify that the wall, its purpose was not to completely keep people out. It's to widen the gap between recognition and allowing Border Patrol to make it to them. So it's basically just to slow it down. It's not intended to completely keep people out. That's not the whole point of the wall. The wall is to basically close the gap between when they recognize they're trying to cross and Border Patrol being able to get to them. That's all that that is for.
Yeah, because the left loves to show these videos and then say that it's
Well,
inefficient.
where was
But
Border Patrol when that was happening? That didn't slow them down. That didn't make them easy
They're
prey to be picked up by the Border Patrol.
okay, I want to let Dennis answer that question. Go ahead, Dennis.
busy dealing with the overload and the crowds that are actually in the centers because there were certain people stopped certain laws or things that were put in place to actually slow down that process, and so now they're busy doing other things instead of enforcing our border laws.
Does that answer your question, Micah?
No, that actually puts up forth the point of they need more border wall funding. Would you be for Biden getting like over $800,000 for the border wall for
Biden's
hiring
actually asking, he's finally asking to build the border wall that Trump said he was going to build. You know that, right? But does
He's
that make
not.
him racist to you? You're
There was a
incorrect. He
rule.
is.
No, you are incorrect because there is a rule by the Trump
Give me a second. I'll
administration.
get you the. I'll get you. I'll
Yeah,
get you.
there's a comment
I
here
will
for
get
you,
you the thing.
Micah. The question is 800,000 from Cheetown. You said 800,000?
Yes, it was 800,000 to get 1,000 more border agents at the southern border.
Okay, I thought you mentioned to build the wall. I thought you said that to build more of a
No,
wall.
no, it would be more for that.
Got it. I want to give the word to Snuffles. He's been waiting there for a while. Thank you for your patience. Go ahead. You can share your statement as Dennis is looking up for information. And then I'll give
Yeah,
the
and
word
it's right
to
here for Matt.
Beauty. I believe it's Beauty. Go ahead. Because, sorry, it's because. Go ahead, Snuffle. You want to add something here? I'm not sure what's happening with Snuffle. It's loading and loading. That's been happening in the last couple of days to a lot of users. I'm not sure why. I think someone said due to an update or something. So I'll give the word to Because. Go ahead. Because can you hear us?
I know there's a bug happening right now. Sometimes if you first get on the live, you have to turn on your camera for five
If
seconds
you
and then
look
turn it.
next to her name, it's got red bars. So I don't think she has
We're speaking
service.
about
I think that's what it is. Low service. Because, are you there?
All right.
Can you hear me?
Okay. I want to give. Okay. I want to give the word to Because, and then we'll go to Dennis. Go ahead, Because.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
her service isn't good. It's
Okay.
Yeah,
got
your
red bars.
service is a
So, if
bit.
we were speaking of
Oh, now
any
it's
other
good. Go ahead.
country and their border,
Yeah, we're losing you there. We're
any other country,
yeah, we're really losing you there. Because I'm not sure what's happening with your
would that
signal.
be
Tell her to hang up and reconnect again.
up?
Yeah, Because maybe just exit the live and then re-request. I'll add you back on. Go ahead, Dennis. You can continue. You wanted to share something.
So this is actually an article from Reuters. I'm pasting it right here. Said it is actually a link where Biden is looking to actually use Trump era funds specifically to build more border wall, even though his first action when he came into office was that he would not build any more of the border wall. So there you go, Micah. Go ahead and refute that, sir.
Yes, and he fought it, but the Trump era law uh, was written to where he could not reverse it. It had to go through. There's nothing he can do about it, so he has to let it go through. If you will pay attention to that resource and what what
That's not what it says.
basically they say. Yes,
That's not what it
that's what.
says. What it says is, if he doesn't use the money to do what it says he was going to do, obviously
Then
that
he
would be
would
an
be in.
issue.
Yes, so he had to let it go through because it was the lawful way to let it go through. He didn't claim to be the utmost dictator and veto it and
Well,
say, I don't care, I'm not doing it because that would be in violation of the law. He had to let it go through because he could not legally go against what was perfectly,
he had
previously done.
the wall or he would lose that money. So it's a choice he made to use the money for the wall.
No, no.
Go read the article, son.
I
You
am reading the
clearly are
article right
missing.
here.
Dennis,
I am reading the article right here.
didn't even Democrat AOC said your same point or something similar? I
Yes,
believe she was criticizing Biden, correct?
that is correct.
Okay. Go ahead, Micah. You want to share something?
Yes, because with this, basically, let's see here. Where did I read that at? Let's see here. A notice published by the Federal Register on Thursday, Biden's Department of Homeland Security noted that it needed a waive a number of laws and regulations in order to legally draw back the construction barriers in Starr County, Texas. The county is Rio Grande Valley sector where border agents have encountered more than 245,000 people entering the United States this fiscal year, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Marquez said in the Federal Register Post. There is presently an acute and immediate need to construct the physical barriers and roads in the vicinity of the border of the United States in the order to prevent unlawful entries. So because of that going through, basically, you know, he was like, "All right, fine, I won't fight it anymore. I won't do that." And basically, that's why he did not push that back because of commentary,
All you're doing is confirming what I said to you. But thank you.
Okay.
whatever.
Because are you back?
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So my question is just this. If it were any other country and we were speaking, because America does this, that's what we do. We go to other places and we protect them. Historically, it's what we do. So if it were any other country and we went to fund and protect their border, would it be as controversial as it is to protect our own?
Well, we're
Who?
already doing that.
Go ahead, Micah.
That's we're already doing that. That's not the issue.
No, but we're really not.
Micah, you're
It
saying that the
is.
borders are secured?
No,
Yes, the borders are secure. They're not
they're
open
not.
as you guys think they
They're
are.
open.
Micah,
They're
so how are
open.
they secure if you just read an article that there's hundreds of thousands entering through the border?
In which we let basically the border
You
security
just said it
secure
right there.
that area.
We let them in, right?
We
We let we basically let the funding go through.
no,
No. I'm talking about the
there's a
hundreds of thousands of people coming through the border. If they're secure, how are they coming in such large numbers?
because
They're
they're not
coming.
secure.
They're
Because
coming.
they're not
Well,
secure.
how they are
Because they're
Micah,
not
secure.
secure. No, no, no.
you just showed us of 10 minutes ago, give or take, footage from people jumping over the wall, cutting through the wall. So how is the border secured?
That was because Vegas said that the border wall is needed. I was proving that the
Uh,
wall doesn't stop anybody. It's
yeah,
still they still go
because
through
the
it.
wall's not complete. The wall didn't get completed because it wasn't funded. It wasn't funded in the Trump administration. It was
And that's
blocked
what I
by
was showing
Democrats.
you.
No, wait, it was blocked. It was blocked by Democrats. And then a blue president came in. I don't give a shit what his name is, Sleepy Joe, but whatever. It was blocked. And
You don't need a
now
name
there
calling.
are hundreds of thousands of acres that are unprotected. You have left, this country left hundreds of thousands of acres, property owners to protect their own with nothing. And then this administration pulled our border agents to process applications, dummy applications, mind you, from countries that are not Mexico. There
Where are
are
you
other
getting this
countries.
from?
Let her finish. Let her
Reality,
finish.
reality, the reality of the situation, the absolute
Right.
reality
Where
of
are
the
you finding
situation,
this from, though?
the
Hold on. Let her
reality
finish
of
the
the
statement.
situation, the reality of the situation is that there are nationals from Venezuela, Guatemala, Haiti that come across the Mexican border. They're not Mexican nationals. So you can't make it a Mexico v. US problem because it's documented. The asylum applications document these people are coming from other nations. It's not an America Mexico issue anymore. It's thousands of acres of unprotected areas. That wall only funnels people, like the lady in the chat said, it funnels people to legal passing points. And the Democrats don't want legal passing points. They want an influx of undocumented people to come. Now you give them papers. Now you give them asylum. Now you give them opportunities to vote in local elections. New York does it now. You can be illegal and vote in a local election in
You cannot.
Chicago.
That is
Yes, you
not true.
can. Yes, you
That's
No,
can.
you
Google
can't.
it. Google's
true.
free. It's
Can
free.
you please
It's
pull that
true.
up and prove
Okay,
that
It's
to me?
true.
hold
In
on,
New
hold on.
York,
Because can you
in New York,
finalize your
yes,
statement? Hold on. Because finalize your statement. Go ahead.
in New York and Chicago, in local elections, you can be undocumented and vote in a local election. Local elections
Hey,
decide a whole lot of
Hold
things.
on. Let her finish.
So
Go ahead.
it's
Finalize.
bigger. It's bigger. Think bigger. It's a big ask, but think bigger beyond what somebody told you that you heard, overheard at a party, and your friend told you and told you and told you. Thousands of acres.
Okay.
If we were any other country, if we were any other country, it would be fine, and we would go there and we would help them protect their border.
Okay.
Why?
Thank you. I want to give the word to Teresa. She's joining now. Guys, I know that sometimes we get heated, right? But please let's avoid profanity. We're trying to protect the lives so we can continue having the conversation. Go ahead, Teresa.
Does anyone ever go to the actual wall? Has anyone actually even, do you know that there is actually easements? There's openings. So for anyone to say that that wall is actually going to do something, you're morons. Because if you go to Donna, Texas, where
Okay, I gotta mute you. Next time you insult anyone on this group like that, I'm gonna kick you out. We're having civilized conversations. No need to insult anyone on this group. No need to use any of those words. You can have conversations and ask questions. But if you do that again, I'm gonna kick you out. Go ahead, I'll give you one more chance to finalize.
Teresa, you have to unmute your mic.
Yeah, you gotta unmute. I had to mute you. I
It's
send the
to the
request.
left.
I send the request to unmute.
Yeah, it should be on the left-hand side of the multi-group icon on the bottom of your screen.
I already sent the request to unmute. She has to unmute it herself now. Teresa, we still cannot hear you. You need to unmute your mic. Teresa? Okay, I'm going to send the request one more time. Okay, I sent you the request again to unmute. Can you please unmute your mic and continue? Okay, so she's still here, but I'm not sure what's going on with her mic there. I'll keep her until she comes back. Dennis, do you want to respond to at least the beginning portion of what Teresa was saying?
Um, Well, so yeah, basically, yes, there are easements in the border wall. However, what you need to understand is the border wall is not simply what you guys are seeing on the surface. The border wall also has underground detectors so that when you cross through those easements, it sends a signal back to the actual border patrol so that they know that somebody is crossing at those easements. And then they will come, all right, to respond to those things if they have enough people to do so. All right, that is a way that they use to keep track of the gotaways that they may or may not have gotten an opportunity to go and check. All right, that's why they know how many gotaways they have. Hence, yes, there is
That,
on our border. So
yep.
that it's just, well, first, I don't live in Vermont. I come from New York City. Thank you. All right, but I will go on. I will move on with that statement. Anyway, as I said, that they actually have detection along the borders. There are cameras along the borders. All right, we do respond as necessary. All right, if we're able to do so. But um, obviously, since Biden has taken over, there's less funding for some of the things that they need because he has chosen to allocate funding elsewhere. All right, and beyond that, whatever funding they are getting is generally left over from whatever had already allocated toward the border. So that's basically it. And that's
Okay,
why
I want to give.
Biden's
Hold
asking for
on,
stuff
hold
now.
on. I want to give the word back to Teresa one more chance. Go ahead and finalize your statement.
Well, no one has gone to that border. No one knows what it's done to my family and how it's taken property from my family. And so, for all these people that are on here talking about how they know about what goes on, if you don't know, and if you haven't gone, and if now I have to go across the border, across the wall to get to my cemetery, it's ridiculous. That's what I'm angry about. You people don't know how it's taken property from families in Donna, Texas. See, everyone thinks, oh yeah, they're going to build this wall and it's not. It hurts a lot of people. It takes property that literally the family that I've had in that area, the government already took in 1836 and now they're taking more and it's a cemetery. So when
Okay.
people act like they know what they're talking about, they don't because they've never gone down there. How can it literally protect people from coming in if there's openings? If there's literally openings. And we're not talking about that it has a gate. We're talking about an opening that literally at least 6 cars can go by side. And that's where my cemetery is. So
Okay.
how is that helping anyone? How is that going to help anyone? All that wall is a symbol and it's costly. And it's literally in Texas. It just fell down. How many times has that wall fallen down? This is money that isn't even spent on something that will stand. I mean, seriously, anybody that knows construction knows how would that wall actually stand? If the wall of China was built in what? The wall in Germany, what were it built by? With literally with mortar, with stone, with brick. You have literally a metal wall that can't even stand with a gust of wind. And if anybody knows in Texas how it is here, it falls down. Do you know how much that's going to cost for you to put it up again? So this is a nonstop thing. It's not that you put it up and it's going to stay. It doesn't. It doesn't. And for them to have easements, I mean, it's ridiculous. So
Okay.
when people
Can you
talk
please
about,
finalize? Go ahead.
yeah, well, when people talk about it, you go to Donna, Texas, you'll see cemeteries, you'll see businesses on the other side of the wall,
Okay.
on the other side that are Americans, that are belong to Americans.
Okay, so she's pointing out something that's happening. She's experiencing. Mandy, do you want to respond to that, or Cynthia, do you want to respond to that at all? You have something to say about that, or anything you want
No,
to
because
ask
I
her
actually,
specifically?
Teresa, I never been to where Donna, Texas. You said I never been there. I've been to El Paso, and in El Paso, I seen that particular wall, and that wall is working. And I've been there because I also have family members there. And like I said before, I was there a year ago. That other things happen, yes, that there is eminent domain of what the government is doing in your case. Um, Unfortunately, yeah, on that's a different issue. But for the most part, when I've been there, I I've seen what the wall has done, and as far as when I've been to El Paso, it is like a process and it is a system, and I haven't seen anything else but that.
Because do you
But
want to reply to Teresa?
Danny
so when you
Barrera, he's so funny.
so when you speak on easements, there's easements to everything. There's easements to water. There's easements to all kinds of land, and all structures need constant upgrade, right? And in West Texas, you've got to combat wind. So if you have an easement, you have the same easement that these ranchers and thousands of acres that are unprotected that are just open. They can kill their cattle. They bring trash. They bring crime. They bring all of those things without an easement. You speak of an easement, that's a designated area. And there's easements in cities. Sidewalks have easements, traffic lights have easements. I I I can't speak to a cemetery, and that speaks to feelings, and this is facts. The facts are there are thousands of acres that are unprotected across the border that should be protected. And if it was any other country, it would be fine for them to protect that border. It should be absolutely, without question, fine to protect our borders in this case with your easement.
I think the
Okay,
problem is
go ahead, Micah.
I think the problem is messaging. It's the wording of how people are talking about the wall and what they want it to do instead of, kind of what you're doing is, like we need to protect ourselves, things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But when we start getting to the rhetoric or the anti-Mexican rhetoric, that's where you lose Democrats. And that's where the feelings start coming in. And that's when, it becomes a bad idea. you know, I'm all for it. And as you can see, I have it up here. Biden is constantly, year after year, asking for more funding for resources at the border because what Dennis said, basically the detection systems are over 20 years old, and he wants to update those systems to a more viable, reliable system to get the accurate numbers. And he wants to also hire 1,000 additional CBP officers and resources to investigate and enforce the border for those easements that happen to where because we don't need a wall, we have technology that can basically detect people crossing it, and we can get border agents to find those people and send them back. That's a more feasible humanist way of doing this. You don't need to treat people like animals and think that a wall is going to keep them out or funnel them like vermin. you
Thank
know
you.
Okay, Micah brought up Dennis. Dennis, do you want to respond?
So I clicked a tiny URL basically referencing the
Everyone else, please mute your mic. Dennis is speaking. Thanks, so we don't hear
only.
feedback.
I brought up a tiny URL of the only known wall set portion of wall that has fallen down due to wind. It was in California that has been advertised by the news. All right, and those panels specifically were not fully constructed at the time that the high winds occurred. So I'm not saying that what Teresa's saying isn't true, but I see the only that has
Guys,
been
please mute your mic. Okay, I think it was Teresa. I had to mute her. Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah. So it's the only place where I see that there is an actual news report that reports that a portion of the wall fell, because I would think that it would be impossible for it to fall with how deep the concrete is within along the border, because there's concrete, then you have the metal into the and rebarb into the concrete. I just don't see it falling from wind. That just doesn't seem feasible, unless the portion of the wall was not complete where she's referring to, based off of what this news article says.
Okay. Do you want to reply to that, Teresa?
Yes, it happened in Texas. It happened in Texas, not just in California. It happened in Texas. It happened in Texas.
Then
They just recently
all
showed
wasn't
that.
completed.
And the reason probably why they won't show that is because we are run by Republicans. So they're not going to want to show that the wall or whatever you want to call it fell down, but it happened in Texas. It just didn't happen in California.
Well, Teresa, if the wall's not complete, all right, it wasn't completed, that wasn't because Trump didn't allocate the money to do it. That was because it was stopped. All right. He knows that it was stopped. All right. Once Biden entered office. And if it wasn't completed at your portion of the wall, you really can't hold Trump responsible for that. That's down to Biden not completing the wall.
I think
And
he is
And
right, because with
it really
this,
wouldn't
it's
Hold on. Let's let Teresa answer, and then Because wants to add something. But Teresa first. Go ahead.
actually, if you live in Texas, it really doesn't matter because if you notice, Abbott controls everything. So we were going to get that, and you notice what was going on here. I
But
mean, I live in San Antonio. I have my whole family in the valley, in the RGV.
But
So
the
more
easement where they're building, Teresa, is federal territory.
all the way to San Antonio. And they literally, this is how people are here or in the United States. They actually call San Antonio a border town. Ridiculous that people don't
He lives
even
in
know
San Antonio also, Teresa. All right,
San
so
Antonio's not
my
a border
lives
town.
there. I'm just explaining to you. I have family who live there also. All right, I'm simply saying that where this wall is being built is basically federal territory. So Abbott would have no control over the building of the wall. All right, because that's not his. Like my understanding is, he tried to put some barricades in place, and the federal government tore it down because
No,
he's
it's
touch
still
it.
up. Still up. It's still up. The razor, all that stuff is still up.
it's
All
still
that
up.
stuff is
Yeah.
still up. That's not true. All of that stuff, the razors are still there. Everything's still up. To say
It's been a
They
tug.
actually
It's
were
been a tug of
putting
war.
things.
tankers in place at walls.
Remember,
Basically,
we've had a Republican governor for how long? For 25 years. For 25 years, we've had a Republican governor. Our last Democrat governor was Ann Richards. So when we talk about how it's
You're going
so
to be the
horrible,
governor over the container world.
how horrible it is here when it comes to immigration,
Hold on. Let's let Teresa finish. Go
that
ahead.
somebody you would think that they would have taken care of it by then, but all of a sudden now it's such an urgency after 25 years. 25 years. 25 years.
Okay.
Now
So,
it's urgent.
okay,
Now
Because you want to answer to that?
Because Biden
so
is in charge. Now it's
Okay.
urgent.
Okay, Teresa, we'll let you share your thoughts. Let's Because go ahead.
with all respect, ma'am, Governor Abbott doesn't control federal law. And he's not the beginning and end all in Texas. In the last 2 years, he has done everything he could as a governor to push back against the federal government in adding the Rio Grande border wall in the middle of the river. He has added razor wire, which was cut. There was a Supreme Court case. There was a suing by the Department of Defense against said wall. there wasn't as big a problem in Texas until Trump left office, Biden took office, and opened it up. And to speak to what fell down, if you have a construction project that is interim, it's not finished, and nobody is tending to it, it will fall down. That's what that Democratic president did for that wall. So if it fell down over there,
It
that
fell
was
down
based
during
on, if it fell down during the Biden administration.
it fell down
And
during the
in the
Trump
last,
administration.
nope, it did not.
Yes,
It
it
did not.
did.
Yes, it did.
Yes,
Yes,
it
it did.
did.
Okay, hold
I have a
on. One,
The
one
question.
at a
video,
time.
the
One at a
video that
time. Hold on. One
the
at a
video,
time. So because she finalized, go ahead, Micah, and then we'll go to Dennis.
the video that I brought up was 3 years ago in 2020. That was during the Trump administration. That was before Biden took over.
So you're saying by January 6th it fell?
No, let me look at the timestamp. Hold on.
So then clearly Biden was president. But thank you, sir. Anyway, moving on. Teresa,
You're welcome.
Teresa, going back to you. All right. You live on the border? Who is the mayor? Is the mayor of your town a Democrat or Republican?
Why do you think I live on the border when I just said I live in San Antonio?
Because you said you lived on the border.
No, I didn't. I said people think that San Antonio is the border.
No, no, no. You
No,
said
I
that
have
you
family.
lived next
I
to a
have
border wall
family.
that fell by you on your land.
No, I didn't say that on my land. I
In
said it's
in in
fallen on in Texas. That's what I said.
in her defense, it fell and she couldn't access a graveyard.
Okay,
In her
okay.
defense.
So the impression it was her property. All right, so so just so I
Thank you for that,
understand.
because
All right, just so I understand. All right. Either way, my question still stands: is the mayor of San Antonio a Democrat or Republican?
He's a Democrat.
Okay. Is he fighting Abbott?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying that he gives Abbott free reign to do what he wants.
Yep. That's really how it is in Texas.
Because
Okay.
they have no power there. In Texas,
No,
the
all I can
the
tell you is that my uncle happens to be one of the like he's actually in government there. All right, he is actually one of the what is he called? He's a state warden, right, in Texas. So I'm just curious. I'm just curious about the situation there as it pertains to your politics. So you're
Once
saying,
again, you don't know if you don't live in Texas and if you don't know how Texas is run, and for 25 years it's been run by Republicans, then you don't know. You don't know. You don't know how it is. You don't know that our hands are tied with a lot of stuff.
by the
A lot.
I
And
live in Texas.
look at our numbers with
I,
Texas. Look at how education. Look where we are at education. Look where we
I
are with
live.
health. So
either
there's,
Mhm.
and here we are
Yeah.
worried about a fence,
Yeah.
literally a fence.
No, not a
okay,
fence.
hold
Not a
on,
fence.
And
because
that's why it's hard
because do
because
you
it's
live? Hold on,
falling
because do you
down.
live in Texas?
I live in
I do.
Texas.
Hold
I
on,
do.
and I'm asking because do you live in Texas?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so go ahead. You can answer that question that she was asking.
Your perspective is you can't access a cemetery where you don't live.
Say that I
Wait, 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 wait.
Hold on, let her
You
answer. Let her answer.
you can't access a cemetery where you don't live, and you're not, according to you, on a border area, and you have an opinion on
yeah,
thousands of
I do.
acres, on thousands of acres of unprotected area where people cross that are unknown and their intentions are unknown to this country, And your position is we're wrong as Americans, as a country, to protect our border to a
No,
cemetery, to a cemetery, to a
no, that
cemetery.
isn't what I'm saying. I'm
Okay,
saying
Teresa can
that
answer now. Go ahead.
you putting up a fence that falls is not going to help the problem. My God, there's other things that you can use, like the
Teresa, can you elaborate? What do you think would help the problem?
there's. Do you really think that that wall's actually going to stop them? They're cutting. They're cutting the metal.
No, I got that. I got that. But what would be your if you had some
Technology.
sort of solution? What would be?
Technology. That's the only way. And yeah, they have these militias that are coming around acting like they're DPS, they're border patrol. Okay, that's fine, whatever. But to think that you're putting y'all are a lot of people are putting 100% that this wall is going to do everything, which is ridiculous. It's
Can
ridiculous.
you elaborate on the technology portion of it? What do you mean? What would you see? What would you like to see?
Didn't okay, for one thing,
Hold
the
on.
Mexican president
Let her
stated that they
answer.
were going to help, that they were going to also work on technology. There's lots of things that they can do now. There's lots of things. That I'm not sure who this Dennis dude is. He was just talking about it, or I'm not sure if it's Micah, but they were just talking about it. They were talking about how they have these sensors and they have all these things. So why are you going to invest in a metal fence that we already know that gets cut? People they're literally cutting the bars. And if you didn't know that, you can look it up. Go ahead, look it up. But they're
That's
literally,
actually a fact. I've posted that on my page. They are cutting the bars. That's correct. Go ahead.
yes. And not only that, but you know the barbed wire? A lot of the barbed wire, they literally are cutting it and using it in their homes in Mexico. So we're literally giving all these materials that are supposed to be protecting, they're literally using them for their own homes.
Okay. Okay. You answered the question. Dennis, she brought you up. You want to answer?
Okay, so the purpose of the wall like has already been stated, is to slow down people coming, number one, and or funnel them to the ports of entry. All right, that's the purpose of the wall. If they're cutting through the wall, the other idea is that it has sensors that tells Border Patrol, hey, somebody's cutting through the wall in this section. All right, it allows them to respond to it. It still slows the progress of people coming through the border. Right? And the whole point of technology, right? Technology can only go so far, meaning it's got to have power. It's got one, it's got to have two, if it's a network, it has to have the ability to network far enough. All right, there are limitations on how far fiber can be sent from a particular location to wherever you're at, to wherever these sensors are at. So, for example, just to give you an idea, the furthest one fiber strand will go is up to 2 to 3 miles. All right, so then it has to have a repeater or something that continues to power that technology, all right, till it gets back to the source. So if you don't understand that, all right, you can only have certain point. Like if you create
Teresa,
several
please mute your mic.
if you create several points of entry and then have enough power in those locations to be able to deal with the people coming through those limited locations, that's really the only place you can implement that technology. It's not going to span a 900-mile border where we don't have power generation or something of that nature. It's only going to be able to help us in limited capacities in small openings along that border.
Dennis, so do you think that, for instance, the $100 billion allocated to Ukraine and Israel, if we use that at the border, would that help?
Trump only asked for what, 40 billion initially, and it would have made a great wall. So, but they didn't give him that, so he had to limit what he built to the funds he had available through, I think it was a military act that allowed him to utilize military funds, but it was a limited amount to actually begin the construction on the border. Because by law, his job as president, the only job constitutionally allocated to the president is to protect the borders of the United States, all right, and to control commerce or agreements between countries as it pertains to commerce. Those are the two jobs of the president of the United States. His job is to protect our borders and to basically maintain military, and that's
Got
it.
it. Got it. Okay, guys, I do have to. This live is coming to an end here. I want to thank everyone for joining. There's two more people that want to join. I'm gonna let them in a minute to share their final statement. I want to start with because. Can you please briefly share what you think would be the solution for the border crisis? And if you want to share anything else, keep it brief. Please go ahead.
Funds that are sent overseas should be allocated in this country to couple with a physical wall with technology that funnels anybody coming into our country to certain points. There has to be a border. There has to be an erected border. It has to be complete to funnel said peoples so they can be vetted and then enter.
Thank you for that, and thank you for joining us. Well,
I agree with because.
I want to give the word to Rose. Go ahead, Rose. You're coming towards the end here, I know, but I'll be live again tomorrow. But go ahead, share your final statement.
Yeah, I've been here for quite a while, and nobody's responded to me or given me any decent reply, so I won't be back. I'm actually a candidate for Congress on the Democratic side, and I happen to know how politics works. And all this blame of Biden and trying to scuff off any responsibility from Trump is a whole bunch of malarkey and BS. So y'all can believe what you want, but if you don't know how government works, it's real easy to cry and blame whoever somebody else tells you to blame. So y'all have a good one, but it's obvious you really don't care about it, any of the facts.
Okay, so you claimed you're congressman. The question to you is, have you read the Constitution of the United States? Of course, run away.
Yeah, she left. You know, that's a typical Democrat that comes here and it's angry about not being given the spot right away. You know, people have been waiting. She wasn't the only one. And as you were going to ask questions, obviously she runs away. So, and she said she's not going to come back anyway. So, it's all right. Go ahead. I want to give the word to you, Dennis. Thank you again for joining. What do you think is the solution for this crisis, and anything else you want to add as a final statement?
The solution to end the crisis on the border? Elect
Yes.
Donald.
Yes. What do you think would be the solution for this crisis?
Right now, the solution that we have in front of us is elect Donald Trump. That's it. That's the only way it's going to get taken care of, because he's going to basically come in and do what he was doing the first time. Now, the big question is can we
That's
get,
why I agree with you, Dennis.
yeah, the big question is, can we get enough of the Senate and or the House to hold the supermajority? And honestly, I'm of the opinion that if they got the supermajority and did not exercise what I would expect them to exercise, I should clarify for everybody. All right, I am not a Republican. I am a conservative libertarian. I am fiscally conservative and socially libertarian. I don't believe I believe in the old ways, in that back before World War One, our attitude, there was a motto in America. It was called MYOB, mind your own damn business. Whatever's in your household is your choice. Whatever's in my house is my choice. As long as you're not hurting me or anybody else around you, I don't care what you do. All right. At the end of the day, all right, if we want to be friends, we can choose to be friends, and that's great. All right. But I go back to the old school that your business is your business, my business is my business. I don't care if you're gay, lesbian, straight, whatever. I don't care. All right. I don't care. So at the end of the day, all I care about is I'm pro-America. All right. I believe I'm former military. I served my country because my father served this country and my father's father served this country all the way back to the founding. All right. So as far as I'm concerned, as far as no, first, I keep seeing people say Trump's going to be a dictator. He
I
was
was going to bring
joking.
that up. Yeah, go ahead.
He was joking, and what he specifically said, he was going to be a dictator for one day. Those were his words. Yet everybody keeps saying he's going to be a dictator on day one. That's not what he said.
Yeah, the
What he
media's running
said,
with that right now.
yeah. So it is what it is. All right. Anyway, I'm going to skip after that. I apologize. But
No
all
problem.
intents and purposes, vote for Trump. Try and get a Republican Congress and Senate. If the Republican Congress and Senate and Trump don't do their job over the first 4 years or over the first 2 years, vote them out of office and start voting Libertarian. And let's get a third party in there.
All right. Well
Thank
said.
you.
Man.
Thank
Yeah.
you for that. Thank you for joining again. Okay, I want to give the word to Mandy. Mandy, go ahead. What do you think will be the solution for this? By the way, you mentioned some things earlier about that family, and actually, I want to have you back on the broadcast. I have some questions for you. Will you be okay with that?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to bring you back. I'm gonna be DMing you because I have some questions. I see that you have that point of view of both sides at the same time, but you also want to be fair too. So I want to ask more questions. But that being said, what do you think will be the solution for this problem, and anything else you want to share as a final statement?
So, well, first I want to say thank you, Dennis, for your service, the guy who was just on. But also, um, so as far as the solution is concerned, I wholeheartedly agree with Dennis's statement. I think that the only answer is to bring Donald Trump back in office. He is the only president in my lifetime so far that has been able to get this country in order and in a fashion that is not harming people. Our economy was great. His policies were great. Um, our border was not in ruins like it is now. Remain in Mexico, and with the help of the Mexican government, that did a lot for how that process worked at the border. I think Donald Trump wasn't really given a fair shot because he was being cut out at the knees every time he turned around during his presidency. And I do think that that's going to be a hurdle for him again, but I think he can do it. He made it very well known that he was capable. So I agree that that is the only solution. That and uh, securing our border, because the real thing here is, and I wanted to ask this to Teresa when she was still in here. I wanted to ask her if she would want to vet somebody before she just opened her door to them. And secondly, does she have a lock on her door? Because if she does, and if she does want to vet someone before they, take over her home, or if she allows them into her home, then it is absolutely no different than what Trump was wanting at the border. A wall, which is the equivalent of having a lock on your home or a fence around your home. It is to deter people from coming. And if they do, that is what our Second Amendment rights are for. And I feel like that's another reason that Trump needs to be in office, because he is, a supporter of our Second Amendment rights. So I honestly think that that's the only solution, and that's pretty much all I got to say.
Thank you for that. Yeah. By the way, Teresa, she just left. You know, she just
Yeah.
left. Unfortunately, I didn't kick her out, and we have Micah here. She has a difference of opinion, but I kept her throughout the live. And thank you, Micah, for staying this long. Again, thank you,
Oh, yeah.
Mandy. I'll be in touch. Okay.
Yes, that sounds great. Thank you. And
Thank
thanks to
you.
the rest of
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mandy. Okay, Micah, go ahead. Your final statement, and well, you did mention that there was no crisis, but if you want to maybe, I don't know, if you think that's a crisis, what would be the solution? Or if you think everything that's happening right now, it's okay, you can go ahead and share that and your final statement.
I don't think there's a crisis, but we can have improvements, and improvements have been litigated for new technologies such as drone surveillance and adding additional, I think, like 1,000 border agents along the border to ensure that, basically it doesn't get distracted or other things like that. And also just treating other humans like humans instead of putting them in cages, separating their families to where they lose track of their children and their parents. There's better ways to do about these things. I think with this, Trump probably promises certain things that they sound great, but when he actually enacts them, it's a disaster, and he basically doubles down on his racist rhetoric and his policies. because with that, Trump inherited the economy. The economy was great until his policies were enacted, and now we're seeing them starting to go in permission. So with that, Trump is not the answer because basically Trump has his other elements where he has, the indictments where he, gave up classified information with other people, so that pretty much put us up against any type of security that we might have had. He was a security risk, and he doubled down on that, claiming that he didn't do it when he actually did, when there's a mass amount of evidence to prove that Trump is not the answer. If you want anybody, go for Nikki Haley.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. I disagree, but thanks for sharing that, and thank you for staying this long again.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Okay, well, last but not least, our special guest. You see how these things go? I really wanted to have like an in-depth interview with you, but we had a lot of requests, and then we went from topic to topic, and that's how it is here. We just try to we try to keep it together. So, Cynthia, what do you think would be the solution for this border crisis, and anything else you want to share as your final statement?
Well, before I get to the solution, I just wanted to add to what Micah said, and I appreciate him. He actually had he was very calm, he was very polite, although I don't agree with most of his political views, but we could agree to disagree and have a decent discourse. But in regards to the Cajuns, when he was talking about that, one thing I did see a while back was the Cajun situation. Actually, it's not bad here in the United States. And I hate to say that in that context because it shouldn't even happen, right? But Mexico has even harsher laws when people get caught up and they really get separated with their children. It's for example, so one example I wanted to give was it's like when you get pulled over, say on a DUI, and you have your child in the back of your seat, you also get separated because you chose not to come the legal way, and unfortunately, these are the laws that are implemented all across the world. It's not
You
just
said
the United
DUI
States.
though, right?
Yeah, I said a DUI. Yeah,
Okay.
driving under the influence.
Driving.
So
Okay. Yeah.
I was just giving an example of how even on here, when you commit a crime and things happen and you have a child, I'm just giving an example again of what could happen and how the things with the cages is another scenario of these people coming in illegally. We don't know where they're vetted. Well, unfortunately, that's just the process, but it's not only the process here in the United States. I want people to also look up and research what is the process for Mexico, and actually you'll be even more horrified of what Mexico does about that situation as well. But now going back to the solution, I do want to say that we are a republic country, and by that we mean that we choose the people that we put in office and who represents us. So we just make sure that I think one of those solutions would be is like really now start looking into, like primaries and who are your governors and who are your people in your local arena. And because obviously everybody fights for their own personal interests, but as politicians, when we vote for these politicians, we got to make sure that these politicians are going in with the right of what's right for the people, not what's right for them. And then again, that could be another discussion, but that's one of my solutions, to make sure that we vote for people that are there for the best of what's for this country. And like I told you before, for me, Mexico has done nothing for me. On the contrary, my parents had to move from Mexico to give me a better life here in the United States. So therefore, I feel that I have to respect that, and I respect this country. I respect the Constitution, when our Bill of Rights, and I abide by that. I abide by that. I will die for those beliefs, and that's what I believe. And then for solutions, again, it's pretty much what Mandy said. So again, I'm just reiterating what I feel on the things that we need to make sure that we're careful and on who we vote for and pay attention to those things.
Got it. So even though you're Mexican American, for you is America first.
I am for America first, no matter what. This is the country that has helped me. This is the country that has fed me, that gives me shelter, that educated me, that has given me everything. Even me as a Mexican American, I have made my money here and I still contribute to Mexico. But at the end of the day, America first, no matter what.
So last question for you, as a Mexican American, Cynthia, Trump 2024 or Biden 2024?
Trump 2024, baby, all the way.
Okay. Thank you, Cynthia, again. Thank you for coming again, and I hope to see you again like this. All right. Thank
No,
you,
thank you for
everyone, for
having me, and
joining.
thank you for everyone that joined as well. Yeah,
Yes,
it was
thank you, everyone. There's
pretty
still a lot of
awesome.
people here. Yeah, from the beginning of the live. So thank you, everyone, and I'll see you. I'll try to be on again tomorrow after 5, maybe 5:30ish, give or take. And then on Friday, I do have a special guest as well. So yeah, I'll be seeing you guys next time. Thanks for watching.